High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
From Gold Star Stadium, Varsity Media Sports Network presents this Catholic AAA Showdown featuring the visiting Cardinals of Cardinal Hayes High School and the Flyers of Chaminade. Good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler here with John Baccio. We also have John Perez with us on the call, and this is a battle, John, of two 0-3 teams, which certainly lends a lot of importance here in Week 4, but two teams also that are a lot better than their record indicates.
100%. I mean, both of these squads have shown their prowess throughout the season. Cardinal Hayes, I mean, they're a few plays away from being 2-1 right now. Chaminade the same. You know, the offense has been a little lackluster through this season, but, I mean, the defense that they've played have been incredible. So, I mean, both of these squads, their records do not show the team that they are, and both of these teams have a lot to play for today.
You see the Hayesmen there in the huddle on that far sideline. They opened this season with a 27-0 loss to Iona, and then leads in their last two games against Pope John at Rutgers as part of that battle for the bridge. They lost that game by 4, and then a really tough loss at the rooftop to Kellenberg, 36-35, where, again, they had a big lead in the fourth quarter. So certainly the athletes are there, and they're just looking to close games out. They're a very young team, and that's the scary thing, I think, a little bit about Cardinal Hayes, is at some point in this season, they will mature and then look out, because you match that athleticism and that maturity, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially in the latter part of the season.
100%. I mean, there's only 5 seniors that are starting on this team. 5 is astronomical. They're a very young team, and Coach O'Neill put it this way: they're a young team making young mistakes, and it's to be expected at some point. I mean, with all those younger guys playing, and you don't have, not to say there's not much leadership on the squad, but there's not many seniors on the field at once. So it's definitely pretty interesting to see that this team, they're so close to being so good, but honestly, it's just young mistakes, as Coach O'Neill said, that are killing them.
We'll take a look at their players to watch in this one, and on the offensive side, it's Marcus Fawcett. What a great story Marcus is as a guy who suffered, he's one of those rare seniors in the team, suffered an ACL injury end of his freshman year. He missed his sophomore and most of his junior season because of the subsequent surgeries, but a USA Football Heart of a Giant nominee. He's had a great start to this season with 8 receptions for 128 yards, and the name Beelan is synonymous with greatness at Cardinal Hayes, and Blake Beelan is the next one there. Twin brothers with the quarterback, Rich Beelan, who we'll talk about, but 6'2", 240, a sophomore on that defensive line, already has an offer from Temple.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys, what more is there to say? Marcus Fawcett comes back this season after 2 subsequent years of not playing after that ACL injury, and I mean, as Coach O'Neill said, he's coming back to training camp, but he's just ripping the ball out of the sky. It's insane to see his story. And then as for Blake Beelan, I mean, he's been nothing short of incredible as well. 11 tackles, 2 TFLs on the year. He's just super talented, and his ceiling is so high, and he really could go on to be an incredible football player in college. As
we continue to preview this Catholic AAA Showdown, which is presented by Catholic Health, we'll talk a little bit about the Flyers of Chaminade, and again, a team that, you know, you suffer that tough Week 1 loss at St. Anthony's. Some special teams mistakes at Paramus Catholic, but that was a 1-point loss. And, of course, the loss to Stepinac, which, again, that's 2 of the top 3 teams, you would argue, in the Catholic League between St. Anthony's and Stepinac. So it's about putting together 4 quarters, certainly, for the Flyers here this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, you say 2 of the top teams in the Catholic League. Those could be considered 2 of the top teams in the entirety of New York State. I mean, Archbishop Stepinac right now is second according to Max Preps. The team is absolutely incredible. And Chaminade, they just haven't been able to perform in a few games. I mean, the defense has been top tier. The seniors on that squad have been nothing short of incredible this year. You've got guys like Luke Ventura on the line. Even the linebacker group for the Flyers is immense. You've got guys like Charlie Battaglia, Matt Rappa, Ben Mann. I mean, all these guys are so good, and they are just ready to play every single game. So I think the defense is going to be a huge key for Chaminade this game. And if the offense can show out, then who knows? We've got a really good game on our hands with both of those sides.
Yeah, I think we will have a really good game, and a couple of guys that we expect to have good games for the Flyers are our players to watch on the offensive side. Gavin Creo, of course, the Richmond-bound lacrosse standout, a 2-year starter, really the heartbeat in many ways of the offense. You see his numbers there. He affects the game in multiple ways on the offensive side, and you talk about a beast in that middle linebacker spot. There is none other than Charles Battaglia, really, of this entire team. Probably the heart and soul of the Flyers team. You see his numbers on the year: 29 tackles, 6 for losses, a sack, and a forced fumble. A 2-year starter. And you just mentioned a moment ago, will be a massive part of what they want to do to try to stop Hayes this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Battaglia, as you said, the heart and soul of that Chaminade defense. He is absolutely incredible. A 2-year starter for the squad, transferred to Chaminade in his sophomore year, immediately stepped into a starting role on varsity, and I mean, he just has not looked back. And as for Gavin Creo, he's been great as well.
Some keys for this game. There's always going to be keys, right? And for those, we send it up to our 3rd member of our broadcast team, John Perez, to detail what both teams will need to do this afternoon to get that elusive victory.
Well, guys, you mentioned how young this Cardinal Hayes team is. All but 5 players are seniors. And when we spoke to C.J. O'Neill earlier in the week, he said that it's quite simple. With a young team comes a lot of immaturity, especially up front. He says that the key to today's game is going to have to be limiting the penalties, especially in the trenches on the offensive and defensive line. Meanwhile, for Chaminade, they're a team that has the experience, but can they stop a quarterback like Rich Beelan? That's going to be the key for the Flyers this afternoon. Beelan is a very good freelancer, says Kevin Dolan, and that the Flyers have to finish their tackles and wait for the whistle, because when Beelan's got the ball, the play is never over until it's over. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, John, and it should certainly be a fantastic game. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have the opening kickoff and so much more here in this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering: you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
One more time.
Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Riding stance.
Yeah!
2, 1.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Varsity Media is the tri-state.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler here with John Baccio as the anthem has been played, and we will have you see the coin toss right now where Hayes will look to receive the ball. And listen, John, if last year's game is any indication of what we have today, it will be an absolute barn burner. We'll show you those highlights later on in this broadcast, but obviously that one came right down to the wire, and a high-scoring affair as well, an entertaining game at the rooftop there across the street from Yankee Stadium. So these two teams, obviously different styles, but they could score a ton of points. Both can.
Definitely. I mean, the offense this year for Chaminade, you see the points that aren't being put on the board, but I mean the defenses that they're playing against are insane. But you got to remember the O-line of Chaminade, incredible. Matt Dieguez, one of the most athletic guys in the entire high school, and then the wide receiver core goes unsaid. You've got guys like Gavin Creo, Patrick Bruno, and although these guys don't have the receptions on the stat sheet, they have still been so very good this year. I mean, Chaminade, they're not an offense to count out at all, and we know what Cardinal Hayes is all about. Rich Beelan as the quarterback, now taking on that heritage from his brother Henry, and I mean, that whole family as a whole is absolutely insane. But even so, that entire offense really, really knows how to play. Guys like Marcus Fawcett, Typha Mason, Kenneth Antoine especially. Antoine's actually 5th in rushing yards in the CHSFL right now. I mean, both of these teams are great, and it goes unsaid.
Yeah, and you mentioned Henry Beelan, who is, of course, the quarterback last year, seeing time as a true freshman at Duke right now, and both of the younger Beelan brothers, the twins Blake and Rich, also have significant offers as well. So just about set to start. You see the visitors from Hayes making their way onto the field. Final huddle for Chaminade as well, and should be a really, really fun game. Our referee for today's game, Chris Ashen. The umpire, Chris Hart. Head linesman is Jim Graham. Alex Toussaint is the linesman. The back judge is Paul Rupp. And the clock operator is James Samuels. You wonder, too, a little bit. Windy, overcast day today in Mineola, how much that will affect this portion of the game. Certainly in Tim Tomlinson, one of the better kickers in the entire league. And you see right away, you can see the end zone there and the wind. And, of course, as soon as I mention that, the ball pops off the pylon. Or the kicking tee, I should say. So Tomlinson set to go. As this Catholic AAA showdown presented by Catholic Health is underway. And that's what Tim does better than most, doesn't he? He makes sure it's sometimes a part of the game that is not talked about enough, but he makes sure that Hayes gets a long field. But bringing Hayes out right now is their quarterback. We mentioned him before, Rich Beelan, the sophomore, 5'10", 177. You see the numbers, 37 for 76, 460. He's also run for 201 yards, 4 touchdowns, throwing the ball 3 as well, rushing. You see the offers, right? Temple, UConn, Dartmouth, Penn, Syracuse. He is a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's not somebody to play with. Rich Beelan has just been Rich Beelan, and that's about it. He's a bright kid, but not only that, he's got character, demeanor, intelligence, athleticism, arm talent. This kid's got it all.
Beelan back to pass on first down, goes over the middle, and that was incomplete as the intended receiver was Typha Mason. Let's take a look at the starters on offense for Cardinal Hayes. The starting lineup presented by Body Armor. We mentioned Beelan, Antoine as the running back, your wide receivers, Fawcett, Mason, Ford, and Charlton. The big guys up front, Jenkins, Anderson, Diaz, Mann, and Dunn. 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line for Rich Beelan and the Cardinals. This time, another fake handoff, another pass over the middle, and that one is also incomplete, which sets up a 3rd down. And let's take a look at the starting defense for the host Flyers of Chaminade. Their defense also brought to you by Body Armor. Aquilina, Ventura, and Pinto. And then that linebacking core, John, you mentioned before, Mann, Battaglia, Rappa, and Miller. Corners, Marshall and Friel, and Maggio and Marino are your starting safeties. 3rd and 10 for Cardinal Hayes. Low snap, Beelan. Pressure comes, rolls out of it, goes over the middle, and he finds Typha Mason. And now Mason gets into the secondary. He's pulled down inside the 30-yard line.
And that just shows the type of guy that Beelan is. He scrambles out, throws over the middle, and Typha Mason does what Typha Mason does. I mean, he's a super fast guy. He's the wide receiver 1 on this team. You got to feed him, and that's what Beelan does. He finds him over the middle for a huge gain.
Yeah, John, not the size of the dog in the fight, right? 5'5", 120 is Typha Mason, but a big play guy and a huge 3rd down conversion, which gets Hayes at the 25-yard line of Chaminade. Beelan goes to his right, finds Elijah Ford, and Ford gets a couple of yards, and he's tackled by Maggio.
Yeah, and just going back to Mason for a bit, hopefully after that huge reception, he's not cramping up at all, because then they would have to pull out the pickle juice pretty early. He was cramping up in a few games prior. They saw it on the sideline. They said, hey, let's give it to him. And you know what? It worked. So maybe it's getting whipped out a little too early here.
Yeah, and that's where we got to get a camera maybe on that sideline at some point today to find that jar of pickle juice, right? Beelan over the middle, and that's incomplete to Fawcett.
Yeah, Beelan, one of his only downsides as a player, I mean, he's so athletic. He can scramble really well. His arm talent is immense, but the accuracy is the only thing that worries people. I mean, he's got big offers. It's not like he can't work on it, but his body positions when throwing can just be a little bit off from time to time. He finds himself in weird positions when he's throwing. If he could just tighten up, make good throws, then he could be a great quarterback.
Another 3rd down now for Cardinal Hayes. Handoff to Antoine, cuts inside, and a good stop by several defenders for Chaminade. Of course, right in the middle of that is Charlie Battaglia.
And that's what Chaminade does. It's a team effort on every single defensive play. You saw the entire D-line flooding over there. Ventura, Rappa, Pinto, the rest. They're all flooding over there to make that tackle. And that's why this team has so many assisted. Charlie Battaglia leads them in solo. But, I mean, the amount of assisted tackles this team has is insane.
4th down, and Hayes will go. Beelan, look out. The pressure comes from Battaglia, rolls out of it, nearly pulled down, fires to the end zone, and that is incomplete. There is a flag on the play, but surely if it's a hold, you would expect it to be declined considering the incomplete pass. But how about that? Just the elusiveness of Rich Beelan is remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, he fights off the tackle from Seamus Miller. Miller got in the backfield early. Same with the rest of the Chaminade linebacking core, as that penalty will be declined. Chaminade's defense is coming off the field, and the offense is ready to go to work. But, I mean, that's a great display of Chaminade's defense right there. But, like you said, Rich Beelan, what an attempted pass. You could see it right there. Just barely misses his target in the end zone, but what a 4th down conversion that would have been.
And there you see the Flyers quarterback, Matt Diegas, stepping onto the field. You look at his numbers this year, 29 of 56 for 340, a touchdown, an interception. He's also run for 154 yards and a score. Those numbers this year are pretty much what he had a year ago. Obviously, last year it was splitting quarterback duties, but this year it's Diegas' job from the beginning and through 4 games. Matched his number. Fumble as Tully had the first carry, and it looks like Hayes has recovered.
The ref signals one way, and Tully on his first carry of the game, the junior, lets the ball loose. The pill was out, and you can see it right here. Tully on his first carry cuts it to the far side, and it is just barely poked out. A huge play by Ray Boyd to come down and make the tackle on Tully. And right back, we are with Cardinal Hayes offense.
Yeah, Boyd. It's funny, C.J. O'Neal said to us in the lead up to this game, he'll have probably the biggest hit of the game. I'm not sure if that was it, but it might be the biggest impact, certainly, of the game right now, is now Beelan back on the field. Some terrific field position as he's got his Cardinals at the Chaminade 20. This is a handoff, and Beelan trying to push forward as trying to get some extra yards for his running back, Kenneth Antoine. A solid, dependable, tough runner is Antoine. Again, just a junior, 59 carries, 360, and 3 touchdowns this season.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Antoine, he's been great this year. 5th in the Catholic League in rushing yards with 360, as you said. He's also got 3 touchdowns on that tally again. He's been immense.
Give him about 2 yards on that first down carry. Now Beelan in the air looks to the end zone, and it was just behind Fawcett, who was a little bit slow getting up.
Back to Kenneth Antoine. I mean, he's been incredible this year. He had a huge game against Kellenberg just last week, and then he's just been scratching the surface of what he really could be. Kenneth Antoine, as we've been saying, incredible. Last few games, rushed for 160 and then 190 yards.
Another big third down here for Cardinal Hayes. Beelan in shotgun. Again, handoff. It's Antoine running towards our sideline, and what great pursuit to the football. Big tackle by the linebacking core there of Chaminade.
Yeah, John Marshall came up with that one, just barely caught the legs of Kenneth Antoine. And Marshall has stepped into a huge role this year. He's a junior, but he's really taken on that Brian Friel type role, especially when Friel leaves. Marshall's going to have a huge role as CB1 for the Flyers.
So here we go again, another 4th down attempt by Cardinal Hayes. It'll be 4th and about 6. Beelan rolls to his right. Chase down, goes end zone. He's got a man. Touchdown for the Cardinals. Cleveland Charlton with the touchdown, and the visitors take a 6-0 lead.
Charlton gets his 2nd receiving touchdown of the year. Before this game, he had 4 receptions for 53 yards. Make it 2. You see right here, Beelan rolls out to the right side, and easy does it. I mean, Cleveland Charlton could not have been more wide open right there for 6.
So here we go for Hayes. As if he doesn't do enough for this team, Rich Beelan is also your guy trying to get PATs.
Beelan can do it with his arm and with the leg.
High snap. They've got to go for 2 now. And the Flyers stop him. And you always wonder, too, John, those points that you leave on the board, especially the PATs, a lot of times they loom large in a game.
Yeah, I mean, PATs in a game like this really, really can make a huge effect. I mean, both of these teams really high-powered offenses that can put a lot on the board.
We'll take a quick break. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Dylan Butler, John Baccio here with you from Gold Star Stadium, where it's 6-0 for Cardinal Hayes. The Hayesman with that first touchdown with Charlton, the 16-yard touchdown reception on 4th down. So Hayes 1 of 2 on 4th down conversions. Beelan over the middle, a bouncing ball. And here comes the return for the Flyers. A pretty good one up the middle and some great field position for the Flyers as Diegues brings his guys back out. Want to make a note here and certainly thank the folks at the Yes Network, where Varsity Media is excited to be teaming up with the Yes Network app to bring high school football games to even more fans. Our broadcasts now are simulcast on the Yes Network app. And this is game 2 of that partnership, a bunch more games as well. You got to follow us on our social media handles to find out our future games. 1st and 10 for the Flyers. It's a run up the middle. This time Tully holds on to the ball and gets past the 45. Let's bring in those offensive starters for Chaminade. Didn't get a chance before, but you see it's Diegues, Tully. Great to see Frankie Cerrone back in as well, part of that wide receiving group with Creo and Bruno and Chamaitis. Louded, Cottagio, Dietrich, Rinaldi, and Burmis up front for the Flyers. 2nd and about 5. Over the middle, incomplete, which gives us an opportunity as we are getting to a 3rd and 5 to check out the Hayes defense. It's also presented by Body Armor. It's Means, Beelan, Valentine, and Holland. That's 2 sophomores in the middle. You got your linebacking core of Ba, Canciello, and Downer. Downer is a guy who's athletic all over the field. Your corners are Beltran and Rock, and the 2 Rays in the middle, Ray Boyd and Ray Cruz. I feel like you need a guy named Rock on your defense, right? 3rd and 5. Another handoff, Tully up the middle. And you can see right away, John, number 99, Kamari Valentine right in the middle of that. It's tough to run through him at 5'11", 280. Part of that great sophomore duo of Valentine and Beelan.
Yeah, I mean, Valentine and Beelan, they're 2 very similar players. Valentine, super talented, and his best football could be played at some super high levels. Teams run off his tackles. They do not want to face Kamari Valentine in the middle of the field.
So this will result in a punt as Tomlinson's back on the field. It added duty for him this year. That was Diegues a year ago, but Flyers head coach Kevin Dolan said under no uncertain terms will Diegues even come close to trying to punt the football. He is needed at QB. Tomlinson gets a good one off as well, backing up to the defender, and it's fumbled. It's a loose ball. Looks like the Flyers picked it up, and they do.
What a play right there from the Flyers defense. They keep it calm, cool, collected, and they get the fumble recovery right there. Again, a great play. You can see a huge boot here from Tomlinson. He gets it all the way up there. It's trailing, and Chaminade recover it to put the offense back in a huge spot. Ben Mann getting the recovery.
Yeah, Elijah Ford with the fumble, and that's now it's seemingly a game of turnovers, but also trying to capitalize on those turnovers, and some terrific field position now for the Flyers, who have a 1st and 10 from the Cardinal Hayes 15-yard line. It's Tully again. Look at that pursuit by Abdul Ba, number 11. He's the younger brother of Mamadou. You remember him back in the day at 07 center for Hayes, and he's a guy, we're going to see a lot of 11, I think, flying around the field today for Cardinal Hayes.
100%. I mean, he's just been great for the defense this year. He's got 35 tackles, even a TFL on his tally. The junior has tons of effort, and as you said, he's just going to be all over the field today.
No gain there on 1st down, 2nd and 10. We got trips right for Diegues. Back to pass, goes over the middle. That's complete, and it's a touchdown for Chaminade.
Gavin Creo right there with the athletic catch. He makes a huge play to tie this game up at 6, and we could trust the boot of Tim Tomlinson here. We talked about those extra points looming and making a difference in games, and I mean, what a pass right here from Matt Dieguez. He steps back. Creo, what a route. Burns the DB, makes a great catch, and he finds himself in the end zone to tie this game up at 6.
And what you love, too, is look where Dieguez put it, right up in the wheelhouse there of Gavin Creo. Big touchdown reception for Creo. The PAT is up, and it is good. Creo's second touchdown of the game has given the Flyers a 7-6 lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Gavin Creo gets his...
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
One more time.
Come on, one more.
One more. Righty stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Back here at Gold Star Stadium, there he is, number 24 for Chaminade, Gavin Creo. Almost, right on cue, right? We mentioned he's going to be a player to game, player to watch, and Creo responds in a big way.
Makes his mark on this game early, gets his second receiving touchdown of the year. The senior, not the tallest guy out there, but oh my gosh, does he make a difference every time he steps on the field.
Typha Mason at the goal line. Breaks one tackle, tries to go towards his sideline, gets a great block upfield, and a really solid return for Typha Mason.
Typha Mason, we were talking about it earlier, but he just puts the burners on, and he is gone. Typha Mason, a great player, a great wide receiver to definitely look out for this game.
So now Hayes looking for a response in this battle of two winless teams to this point.
Yeah, and I think a guy that could definitely get used right here, deep in the backfield or deep in their own territory, could be Kenneth Antoine. He can make a huge difference on this game, especially in this field position.
And he does get the handoff, and he's pushed back. A no gain there, and that defense that you mentioned before, it is stout for this Chaminade team, and big stop there.
Yeah, this defensive line goes unsaid. Seamus Miller, Luke Ventura, and Pinto in the middle, and then Dean Aquilina always lurking on the right side. You can never be too safe when you have those guys on the D-line.
Get more on Ventura in a moment. It is for a loss of one that was. Now Beelan back to pass. Look out. And he's going to be sacked. It was first Aquilina who applied the initial pressure, and then Pinto looks like is the one who finished it up. There is a flag, though, on the play.
Yeah, we're just going to have to see how that one goes, but great play by Chaminade's defense right there. Dean Aquilina flying into the backfield and, as you said, applying the initial pressure on Rich Beelan. Something that he hasn't seen much of this year. I mean, the O-line for Cardinal Hayes is just so good. The center specifically, Juan Diaz, he has been a player to look out for. The senior stands at 5'8", 265 as Hayes is going to get moved up to about the 30-yard line. But Diaz, this is his third year starting on varsity. He's a shorter guy, but he's very stout. He has a huge presence, and he's just got a mind for the game.
That was a face mask penalty against Chaminade. So what would have been a loss, a slight gain. Again, it is Antoine, gets just back to the line of scrimmage. And you see, again, a host of tacklers. Pinto right there as well. The senior end doesn't have quite that same size, right, that Aquilina and Ventura do, but he's a wrestler, right? So he's a tough dude. in football, especially on the island, we see a lot of that. The wrestlers who go and play football, not as many for Chaminade, but Pinto making that transition and obviously helping him out here on the line. Beelan completed. Mesa was hit hard. And the question, well, it's not a question. You see the response immediately by the officials saying it was an incomplete pass. Chaminade's sideline, though, and their coaches wanting it to be a reception and a fumble.
Brian Friel laid down the hammer right there. You saw as soon as Typha Mason caught that ball, Friel was right there to lay him out. Ball goes loose, but I don't think he made the football move, so I agree with the ref's call there. Probably should just be an incomplete, but Friel, what a play.
So here we go, 4th and 5. Beelan back to pass, dumps one over the middle to Antoine, and he will get the first down for the Hazemen.
And you see the arm talent right there from Rich Beelan. Off balance, sidearm pass straight to Kenneth Antoine, right in the basket to get it going. And you can see the replay right here. Beelan with all the time in the world. Quick pass over to Antoine in the middle of the field, and they get the first down off of a 4th down conversion.
Beelan, look out. Pressure comes from behind. Still gets his pass off. It's complete. Good cut inside out toward midfield. So it's another first down for Hayes. And that was a completed pass to A.J. Perez, one of the few seniors in the team, another guy who battled injuries a year ago. Hayes will look to move quick now. You've got trips right as they're trying to get Chaminade off balance. It's Antoine, and again, stuffed up the middle. That's where, and that's going to be a fun matchup, I think, because that's where Antoine does his best running, but it's also the strength of Chaminade, right? So it's strength on strength.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've talked about it so much today, but the D-line of Chaminade is not something that you want to play with. And Kenneth Antoine is not a guy that you want to play with as a running back. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see that matchup here on the field today. And we've already seen it. Chaminade has looked like their run defense has gone on top a little bit so far.
A loss of 1 on that run by Antoine. Now it's an empty backfield as Beelan looks to pass. He'll now scamper out, jumps towards the 43, it looks like.
Rich Beelan with a bit of a slam dunk motion right there. Jumps up, hits it down just about a yard short of the first down for Cardinal Hayes. But that was a great play right there. You saw Claudio Pinto flying off the edge. He gets there, or Rich Beelan steps up just in time. He's able to scramble out and use his legs.
It's a manageable 3rd and 1 now off that scamper by Beelan. He motions Perez out to his left. There is Perez. He gets upfield blocking, and he gets the first down. That was a great job by Cleveland Charlton 14 with that block up the field. Charlton, good size, right? 6'3", 150. Watch him again here, John. 14 at the top of your screen, making sure Perez gets the first down.
Yeah, I mean, great play by Perez. He cuts it to the near side, gets through a couple blockers, and Cleveland Charlton sets him up nice and easy for a big gain and a first down.
There is, though, a flag, and those are killers, right? You mentioned in the open that C.J. O'Neal, in his 20th season as Cardinal Hayes head coach, he has said, those young mistakes, right? And that is another one, right, where you're getting the first down, you're moving the chains, but a penalty now pushes you back, and you're forced to have a 3rd and 9 from midfield.
An absolute killer. Young mistakes are what will put you down. And the one thing that Coach O'Neal says, and most coaches will say, we just can't beat ourselves in this game, and that's what Cardinal Hayes just did right there, put themselves in a bad spot on 3rd down.
So 3rd and 9. Beelan now rolls to his right, has Antoine as a blocker, being chased down, actually tripped over his own man. That was 85, Reed Jones. So it'll be a loss, and again, from a first down, now you've got 4th and very long out at midfield for Hayes.
Reed Jones just caught in a bad spot right there. Got pancaked himself while trying to put a block on, and then Rich Beelan didn't see his legs poking out, trips over him, and now they'll send out the punting unit. Cardinal Hayes, they've been playing pretty decent this game. The offense has been great. Rich Beelan has really been showing off his talent. But honestly, this Chaminade defense has just been doing everything they can. They've pulled out all the stops here in this fourth quarter to keep this game at 7-6 and a lead.
John Carroll is the deep man, and it's a fake. Here comes Fawcett towards midfield. Fawcett, the first down and more. Marcus Fawcett to the 10, cuts inside. Can he get that stretch? He gets to the 5. How about that trickery? Marcus Fawcett. We mentioned him as an impact player. What a big impact he makes there on the fake punt.
What a play for Marcus Fawcett. I mean, you can't ask for more there. He goes back as the punter, receives the snap, and takes it 55 yards downfield. I mean, what a play, and Cardinal Hayes gets their offense right back out in prime position to go back up for the second time this game.
We told you this would be a fun one. You see him again, Fawcett. It's all about getting him into space, right? First of all, he makes a man miss, and then you just get a guy like that into space, and he can do the rest.
And John Carroll was out as the punt returner, and although he did play safety for a couple games for Chaminade, or rather just one game, he can't make that tackle. Marcus Fawcett blows right by.
First and goal, Antoine. Nice move forward, gets a few yards there, barreling right through the middle of that Chaminade defense.
Yeah, I mean, everybody describes him as a tough runner. He's just going to battle his way through and put Cardinal Hayes in a better position. Put the shoulder down, just keep on going. And now Cardinal Hayes has a second and goal from about the 2.
O'Neal believes you're just scratching the surface with what Kenneth Antoine can do. What he will have to do, though, is go to the other side of the field, because that is the end of the first quarter. Been a fun one to this point, certainly. The Flyers of Chaminade, they've got a 7-6 lead on the Cardinals of Hayes, but Hayes is knocking on the door. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
One more time.
Come on, one more.
One more. Riding stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium for the start of the second quarter. Dylan Butler, John Baccio here with you as Cardinal Hayes, off of that faked punt and big run by Marcus Fawcett, is in business here with a second and goal from, it looks like, the 4-yard line, looking at the sticks on the far side.
Fawcett came into the offseason fresh off the ACL tear, missed 2 years. He just comes in and make a huge play off the fake.
Beelan looks, fires, end zone, incomplete, but there is a flag on the play.
That one's probably going to go on John Marshall. He extended the hands, and that's going to look like it'll be a, pass interference on John Marshall. Hayes is even going to get put up a few more.
Yeah, we'll go half the distance off of that penalty. So this should push them up to about the 2-yard line now. Beelan has Antoine behind him. And another flag. It's a false start, so we'll go the other way.
Going right back. Now Cardinal Hayes put in basically the same position as they were prior. So John Marshall gets his dues repaid.
Yeah, this backs them up to the 5-yard line. So second and goal from the 5.
Beelan, I think it's time to use his legs right now. We've seen it on showcase all game, but I think they can really rely on that play that they've done a lot today, where it's just a roll out to the right side and he can just scramble in.
Beelan does Scramble out to his left, an incomplete pass, though, to Reed Jones.
Beelan just a little bit high on that play, jumped while he was throwing just so that he could loop it over and get the touchdown. But Beelan just makes his life a little bit harder than it had to be right there. He could have stayed grounded, used his good position, but now we see the position that they're in.
He's a guy still, he's growing every day, right? We already know he's an excellent athlete, a bright kid as well. And I think if you're C.J. O'Neal, you live, right, with some of those, knowing what's ahead. Here is Antoine. Oh, going nowhere.
Kenneth Antoine gets stopped right there. I mean, what a play by the Chaminade D-line. Flying up the field is all the linebacker crew, and the D-line doesn't make his life any easier. The handoff right there, and what a play to stop it.
Yeah, Kenneth Antoine meet Matt Rappa. Rappa, a huge hit there. It's another loss, and it's now 4th and goal from the 9. Big play here for both teams. Beelan, pressure comes on, floats one through the back of the end zone. You know, faith, family, and football are a big part of what Chaminade does, and a big leader in those values is Gavin Creel. For more on Gavin, we'll send it up to John Perez.
Well, guys, it's been a tough year for Chaminade, starting off the year 0-3, but Kevin Dolan says that his team continues to inspire him day after day, including one of his seniors, Gavin Creel, one of the captains on this team. We saw him have a touchdown earlier. He told us earlier in this week that one of the toughest days every summer is when it's time to make cuts for the varsity squad. There was one day when everybody had to put their equipment back, send it back to the coaching staff, and he heard a commotion in the locker room and didn't quite understand what it was, and it was a young, emotional man that did not make the team, and he went out to see what was going on. And who did he see around this young man who unfortunately got cut? Gavin Creel, with his arm around him, saying, hey, you gave it your best, you did all you can do, come on as a manager, we'd still love to have you here. Gavin Creel, one of the leaders on this Flyers team, and he's somebody that Chaminade leans on every day to get out of this rut. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, John. Loss of 1 there. And, you know, John, you also hear the words during the week, or at least a tweet, right, by Luke Ventura just speaking about those values and how so much faith he has in his teammates as well to get out of this 0-3 slump.
Yeah, I mean, faith, family, football, that's the thing that everybody says, and you see it on every single T-shirt that it seems. But you really do see the values that all these players put in.
Villegas, long ball, and that is incomplete. This sets up a 3rd and 11, as you saw Pat Bruno stretching out, unable to make that reception.
Yeah, but circling back, I mean, the faith, family, football thing, the cliche quotes come a dime a dozen, but it really does show in Chaminade's mannerisms, everything they do. I mean, their style of play will always be relevant in their own values as well.
So how about this? After that incompletion, the flag was thrown. It's against the defense, so that will push Chaminade up a few yards. It's a manageable 2nd and 2 now for Chaminade.
Not bad. Chaminade's offense has some time to work now. I mean, their touchdown from earlier today came in a pretty easy spot from about the 15-yard line. Matt Dieguez delivered a nice pass to Creo in the end zone. Now they got to work the whole field, but with a fresh second quarter, they got time to do it.
Dieguez faked the handoff, jukes the first defender, lowers the shoulder, and gets outside the 20 to move the chains.
Dieguez, I mean, he just puts his athleticism on display right there. What a play by Matt Dieguez. Gets out of the pocket. You're going to see it right here. Absolutely destroys his defender. Gets right by and is able to move down for a first down.
Dieguez, the Fordham baseball commit. Again, split time a year ago with Tom Stuber. An absolutely terrific athlete, arguably in a school of a lot of really good athletes, maybe the best. 1st and 10 now. Dieguez back to pass. Good protection. Now Valentine tracks him down and gets the sack.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the tale of both these two teams this season. Kamari Valentine shoots the gap, gets right through, and Matt Dieguez has nowhere to go. But another thing, Dieguez, you see here, maybe that's a simple step up in the pocket, right where about number 11 Tully is. He could have gone a little bit towards him and found a different man. Yes, I get it, not much time there for Matt Dieguez to show off what he could have done, but maybe there was other options on that play.
Valentine is only a sophomore, 5'11", 280, his third sack of the year. We expect to see him playing football at a pretty high level. Incomplete pass there to Creo. And this sets up a big play here for Chaminade, because you don't want to have to, as good as Tomlinson is, you don't want to give an athletic Hayes team the possibility of short field.
Yeah, but that's another thing, though. Short fields have kind of been Hayes' enemy. They saw a bunch in that Kellenberg game. They weren't able to capitalize. Same with the Pope John game. So short fields, although they have worked in their favor from time to time, and they might work in their favor today, there has been certain times where they haven't been able to capitalize on a good field position.
3rd and about 13. Dieguez back to pass. Goes far sideline, looks for a man. Is that a completed pass? No, as it was out of bounds. Good effort there, though, by Frankie Cerrone. Good to see him back.
Cerrone wasn't able to keep his feet in bounds, although he did make the catch. And that's something interesting that we saw from Cerrone. He broke his wrist, so he was playing in practice this week with a club on his hand, and he was still pulling down almost every single pass. Dieguez finds a decent target right there in Cerrone, but he's just not able to keep those toes in.
Cerrone, that gritty kid from the Throgs Neck part of the Bronx. Maybe this game means a little more to Frankie Cerrone. Punt from the end zone. Tomlinson, he was roughed up there by Beelan. And now the question, John, will be what type of infraction was that, right? It certainly was running into, but was that a roughing the passer? Because if it is, when you look at the sticks, that should get you a first down.
Yeah.
Let's see, here it is. And it is personal foul, so it is a roughing the passer, the punter, excuse me. So another learning moment for Cardinal Hayes, another young mistake, which results in a first down for Chaminade.
Tough break for Hayes right there. Tim Tomlinson got absolutely obliterated on that play. Blake Beelan just gets to the punter a little bit too late. And again, those young mistakes. He's only a sophomore, but he's a super big dude. And that hit that he laid down right there was not pretty. So it gets Chaminade a first down on their own 30.
Let's see if the Flyers can capitalize on that. You've got a man in motion. Go this side to Creo, and it's in and out of his hands.
Yeah, that's just a tough break right there. Creo unable to catch that one. Good play from the defensive backs. Ryan Beltran, the main man right there to get the break up.
Yeah, Beltran on a team that does not have many seniors. He's one of those who they rely on for some of that leadership.
Yeah, I mean, they rely on him in the locker room, and they also rely on him on the field. There's a reason that he's starting right now. You can see him on the near side, number 23.
2nd and 10 from the Chaminade 30. Handoff, Tully cuts inside, and he gets a couple. And that's some great recognition, right, by Tully. Tried to bounce it to the outside, realized it wasn't there, saw the hole emerge, and then he pumps the brakes to cut inside for a couple.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Tully, one of the most elusive runners. Tully, there's not much more you could ask for out of a junior running back. Not only is he great on the football field, but he comes right back out on this field to play lacrosse. Voted by Back of the Cage, a lacrosse organization, a top 60 lacrosse sophomore on Long Island.
Tully, 214 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Dieguez scrambles, throws it over the middle to Tully. Oh, what a catch at the 50. Well, there's the athleticism we just talked about.
Oh, my Lord, what a catch by Jack Tully. Reaches up, and you're going to see it right here. Dieguez takes his time in the pocket, steps up, now takes it to the near side, just chucks it up there. Hey, Tully's got to be there somewhere. Leaps up, ball pops out, and grabs it.
What a catch. You saw Aiden Smart, 32, was right there. You can't fault a defender. It was just a special play by a special player. Another first down out at midfield for Chaminade. Hand off to Tully. Bounces it outside, and he's pulled down by Ray Boyd.
And Tully was an option that we weren't able to see against Stepanak, and maybe that does change the course of that game a little bit, but Tully was out with a back injury that game. He's back today, and I mean, we've just seen him getting used over and over and over again, and there's a reason for it. He's such a great runner. He can catch the ball well. I mean, he's just all over the place in the Chaminade offense, and that's the exact player that Chaminade needs to get this offense running.
And not easy when you follow in the footsteps of a Mario Fischetti and a Christian Alakwa, but Tully has done a great job, and that receiving is also, as we saw another part of his game, had 4 receptions for 62 yards coming in. Tully bounces it to the outside, but this one will come back. It'll be an offensive holding penalty against the Flyers.
Tough break right there for the Flyers. They're going to get taken back a couple, especially off of a great run right there from Jack Tully. But I know he carries a long legacy of number 11s here at Chaminade. Fischetti and Christian Alakwa, the two most notable and most recent. I mean, Christian Alakwa last year, through 3 games of the season, was on pace to break Derrick Henry's rushing record in high school. So, I mean, just that alone is absolutely nuts. But Jack Tully has been carrying that legacy on very, very well, and he's going to have that number 11 for two solid years.
That was a good look at Kevin Dolan in his 7th season as head coach of Chaminade. 1985 graduate of Chaminade. He wears that jacket with pride. To the outside, breaking out, and you're back out to the 50-yard line, as again, it is Creo.
We talk about Coach Dolan, and this was a big storyline last year. Tim Tomlinson was brought up to the varsity level as a sophomore. The only person before Tomlinson to be brought up as a sophomore was actually Kevin Dolan. A crazy story to think about, and now Tomlinson carries that on to his junior year. And now 2 sophomores this year were brought up. That's both the O-lineman Lucas Catogio and the brother of Charlie Battaglia, Tim.
And look at that determination by Dieguez. Facing a 3rd and 8, just carried a couple of defenders with him to move the chains.
Dieguez marches down the field, puts the helmet down, and gets in there for a couple extra yards, steps up in the pocket, doesn't like his options, and just bull rushes to move the chains.
It's been unconventional a little bit on how Chaminade has moved the chains, right? It started all the way back with that roughing the punter that resulted in a first down, and then that incredible catch by Tully. Now Dieguez as well. And you are finally inside of Cardinal Hayes territory. Dieguez just lobs one up. Nice catch. And a couple more yards. That's Jack Francesa with the grab.
Francesa, the Hamilton College football commit. He's a good receiver, but he is a great blocker. Jack Francesa this season has been a great player for the Chaminade Flyers. Stands at 6 foot 205. And the senior, as we said, that's his 3rd reception of the year. And he adds on an extra about 5 yards to his tally.
It has better than average speed, really good hands as well, as we saw there. Generally kind of comes in as that tight end sniff, right, as more of that blocking guy, but obviously he showcased his hands there as well. 5-yard gain on first down. Inside handoff, and it's Valentine and Beelan getting to Tully. He'll get back to that line of scrimmage.
Tully would know where to go on that one. I mean, can't blame him for anything on that play. Runs right up the middle, and the entire Cardinal Hayes D-line meets him.
Yeah, those are 2 special guys. It's when you know you've got Beelan, 96 at 6 foot 240, and Kamari Valentine at 5'11", 280 for 2 more years. That is a nice luxury to have for Coach C.J. O'Neill and his staff. 3rd and 5. Dieguez pump fakes. He will go long. He's got a receiver, and he just throws it over the intended target, which sets up a 4th down.
Pat Bruno unable to get to that one. Dieguez throws it outside the numbers, just unable to find him on that route again. Pat Bruno just running a straight go route, get by your DB, and he beats Beltran with ease. Dieguez sees him downfield, just unable to connect.
So 4th and 5. from the 35. You've got Tully to Diegas' left hip. 5:35 left in the first half. Diegas back to pass, throws, looking for Creo in the end zone, and again, a little bit too much touch on that one. Creo's got to chase down that ball, and it results in a turnover on downs.
Diegas showing off the arm talent once again. He's committed to Fordham for baseball for a reason. Overthrows his two receivers right there. But just the fact that he can get it to them in decent spots just shows the arm talent that this guy has and can put on display in a ton of occasions.
So now the Hayes offense comes back on the field. Both teams knocking on the door, having chances, but it is that 1-point lead right now for Chaminade, and it's a little early to say it, John, but again, we mentioned the botched PAT for Hayes. Will that become a big deal? Antoine breaks the first tackle and gets outside the 40.
Yeah, I mean, the Flyers with a 7-6 lead right now. Not looking too great as Rich Beelan's got to take him all the way down the field from his own 41-yard line. Going to be interesting to see this drive. I think this could be a real momentum shift for Cardinal Hayes.
That's John Baggio, Dylan Butler. Thank you for joining us. And right on cue, as John mentioned how important this is, you go from 40 to 40. Big run again by Antoine to move the chains.
And if Antoine with a great play right there, shows off the strength with that carry, run straight up the middle, only looking for a first down right there, and he just takes that all the way up until the high safeties have to go get him. The second level, quite nice to him.
Beelan fakes the handoff, shows off that arm, throws a deep ball. My goodness, what an arm for Beelan, but that was an incomplete pass.
You know, all the coaches talk about it, but Beelan, he can do absolutely anything with that arm. He scrambles in the pocket, runs around for a little bit, and he can still chuck it 60 yards with ease. Just unable to connect right there with Marcus Fawcett, but still, great display of arm talent right there from Beelan.
Yeah, John, when we spoke with C.J. O'Neill last year before they played St. Anthony's, he said that Henry Beelan had probably the greatest arm that he's seen from a player of his position in high school. Rich has that opportunity. He's still young, though. He's only a sophomore, again, compared to what Henry was. You get 2 more years in the weight room and grow a little bit, as Antoine stuffed at the 40. But it's one of the reasons why the colleges are calling, right? Because you know what Hayes had in Henry Beelan, and Rich, again, at 5'10", 177. You know he's going to get bigger. So certainly a really bright future. 3rd and 10 now for Hayes. It's Mason motioning to the left. We've got twin receivers at the top and the bottom of your screen inside the final 4 minutes of the first half. Beelan over the middle, and a flag, a late one there, and that'll be an offensive holding penalty, which Kevin Dolan will decline.
Yeah, that's going to go bad on the offensive line. Just a bad look right there from Daryl Dawkins. Gets caught lacking on the outside edge. And now it'll be a 4th down for Cardinal Hayes. We saw what they did last time when they had a 4th down. That was a fake punt for Marcus Fawcett. But it doesn't look like they're going for a fake this time around. They're just going to play it clean and go for it.
Empty backfield for Beelan. Gets the call from his coaches on that far sideline. He's got to get to the 30. Beelan scrambles, still scrambles. Looks for a man. Oh, a fantastic breakup, because that, as John Marshall makes the play, that was going to be a first down and more. Great job by the junior.
Rich Beelan with a huge display right there, but Chaminade's defense comes up clutch. Beelan rolls out to the near side. He calls for his blocker, throws it over, and what a breakup by John Marshall right there. Stays with his receiver the whole way down, and Rich Beelan could not put the ball in a better spot, but John Marshall could not play better defense.
So we go the other way now with 3:41 left. Chaminade out at midfield. They've got the 1-point lead and the ball at their own 40. Draw to Tully. Bounces it to the outside. Gets out of bounds. About a gain of 5 for Tully.
Tully found in a good position right there. The pitch to him on the far side. Gets him about a 2nd and 5 now. Chaminade looking to work with 3.5 minutes on the clock. Get all the way down this field. And, even if you could just get in field goal range, which is pretty deep when you have a guy like Tim Tomlinson as your kicker. So the offense doesn't have much to worry about here. Let's just get past about the 35-yard line, and we're in distance.
He runs the way of Nick Rinaldi and Connor Burmis on the right side of that line. Timeout called by Chaminade.
And the winds are blowing. You just saw it. You might have seen it on the sideline earlier. Coach Kevin Dolan Jr. had his papers fly out of his hand, but they just called for a timeout. Now Chaminade's got a lot to talk about in this huddle, how they're going to get down the field.
We mentioned last year's game at the rooftop across the street from Yankee Stadium, which the folks on the S app certainly are aware of the location, and what a win by Cardinal Hayes. 42-39, an absolute incredible game. We'll show you some of those moving images. Christian Alakwa had a big game for Chaminade. He ran for 176, had touchdowns of 65 and 60. Brian Frio with a pick 6 as well. And there's that's a fumble there and a recovery as Hayes. There's a touchdown for Chaminade. So now we're going to bring it to the play of this game and one of the biggest plays of the season, certainly. 27 seconds left. Henry Beelan back to pass, looking for options, finds his brother Rich. How about the hook and ladder? Finds Rex Roman for the 55-yard touchdown. Cardinal Hayes. There you see the majestic stadium right behind the rooftop field, and it's Hayes with the 42-39 win. Incredible stuff that afternoon in the Bronx. Off the timeout, here's Tully, breaks a tackle, and he's pulled down at the 41-yard line. Another first down run for the Flyers.
Huge play from Chaminade right there. But going back to that game last year, I can assure you in the hallways for the Flyers after that game, it was not too pretty. It was pretty silent from Chaminade's football team. That hook and ladder clip was everywhere, but, it was worth it. And you see Jack Tully right here pushing forward up until the 41-yard line. It was an insane game last year on the rooftop in the Bronx. But now we're looking forward to this year. More low scoring, but still a very defensively intense game.
1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Back to Tully, and a good job by the defensive end, Dylan Means. He's a guy, great story is Means, the number 8. He was with the team in the pandemic, a program guy. And, you heard C.J. O'Neill say it, John, that, that COVID spring when you had basically exhibition football games, right, just a chance for guys to come out, he had a really good senior class. So what O'Neill decided to do that year was play his seniors, and guys like a Dylan Means and others who are seniors now, they struggled because they didn't get the time as sophomores.
Yeah, exactly. The COVID year was not nice to almost any of these guys. Basically Pee-wee football, a lot of 7-on-7, but they work towards it, and now these seniors are really stepping into their own, and Dylan Means is able to be that guy on this defense with more opportunity.
Tully, some more physicality, gets to the 35-yard line, and it is a timeout called by Cardinal Hayes with 2:02 left in this first half.
Yeah, again, definitely a tough time. And you see a lot of those kind of players on Chaminade's team as well. Pretty much all these seniors were on that JV squad where they only played 3 games. They went 2-1 in that time, so that's why you see a pretty decent senior class out there. And most of the starters on this team are seniors. But JV football definitely was not their biggest strength. They got a full freshman season, but once that sophomore year comes around, it just becomes more difficult with the 7-on-7 and things like that.
If you're enjoying this game and you love all those things from game day to game day, the Varsity Media Pass is where you want to go. We've got top 10 plays, highlights, podcasts, interviews. Our season preview show is archived there. We've got so much more. It's available on iOS and Android. VarsityMediaPass.com. Not making any predictions, John, but maybe that catch by Tully or maybe even the fake punt two good options for a top 10 this week.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that Tully catch is definitely up there, leaps up after the pass is bobbled and just brings that one right back down. Definitely some decent plays out there that could be in contention.
3rd and about 4. Tully again. Oh, what a hole that opens up. And Tully breaks through and into the end zone. A 31-yard touchdown run for Jack Tully.
Jack Tully looking like the Flash out there. He sees his blockers, finds the gap, and I mean, look at this. In the blink of an eye, he's already in the end zone. All he sees is green grass as the blocks open up from the O-line. No one's catching him, and he gets it in for 6. Makes this game 13-6 now in favor of Chaminade.
I shorted him a few yards. Give it a 35-yard touchdown for Tully. As Tomlinson comes on for the PAT. Botch snap. Tomlinson picks it up. He's a QB right now. An incomplete pass on that one. So we've seen, strangely, towards this end zone, 2 botched PATs, but it's the Flyers with a 13-6 lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
We welcome you back to Gold Star Stadium after Jack Tully has extended the Flyers' lead to 13-6 with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. Dylan Butler, John Baccio with you. And John, certainly a well-earned touchdown, right, for Tully. He's put in so much of that hard work this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Tully has just been unstoppable today, and I think a lot of that touchdown goes down to the O-line. They've been great this year. I mean, the starters, Connor Burmis, Nick Rinaldi, Mason Dietrich in the middle, and then you've got Lucas Catogio, the sophomore, and Bob Loudett, the senior, as the right tackle. I mean, these guys aren't people to play with, and the O-line this year has really showed its talents.
Mason at the 2, but he's forced out. And those offensive linemen that you mentioned, you know, when we spoke with Kevin Dolan, he made a point, and he said he pulled those guys aside. He said, this last loss to Stepanak, that is not on you guys. You guys had an incredible game. The execution in other parts, and of course, the turnovers ended up really becoming troublesome, where Stepanak took 2 of those turnovers back for touchdowns, but he said the offensive line did an incredible job that game, and they obviously have as well throughout this season too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is the man in the middle, Mason Dietrich. He's got 2 Division I offers right now from Lehigh and Marist, a ton of offers from support of great Division III schools such as Amherst and Colby College, Hamilton College, the rest. But, I mean, that offensive line is not a unit to play with.
So Hayes, first down. Beelan goes to the air. A short pass to Perez gets past the 20 for a short gain.
Decent play right there from Cardinal Hayes. Get themselves a 2nd and medium. Now I think this is where Rich Beelan could really show off the arm with a minute 20. It's go time.
Beelan fakes the handoff, goes again, and he finds a receiver, and that's Cleveland Charlton.
Charlton was setting up blocks earlier, and now he's catching the football. A big dude, 6'3", 150, able to get out of bounds as well to stop the clock.
And now they'll run it as they move the chain, so Hayes looking to sprint their way downfield, and if there's ever a program that's good at sprinting downfield, it is Cardinal Hayes over the middle, and there's Typha Mason. Juked at the 50, lost the ball, but clearly he was down. A host of flags fly in at the end of that play.
You even saw O-lineman Michael Dunn go flying at the end of that play. He started on the 45. I believe he ended on the other 40. Not exactly sure how that one happens, but the flags fly. We might see some offsetting penalties here.
The officials with a conversation right at midfield. And we'll see the call. We got a face mask, it looks like. And those offsetting personal fouls, John, as you indicated. So Hayes will have the ball at the 46-yard line on that first down. Under a minute, 55 seconds left in the first half.
With 55 seconds left, you said it, now counting. Rich Bielen's got to make it happen.
Bielen in shotgun, low snap. Looks for options. He'll now take it himself, runs towards the 40. He's tackled out of bounds. The Hayes sideline wanted roughing. I think that was a clean play, though, as he gets to the, looks like, to the 40 with 41 seconds left.
It'll be a second down. That's a good play from Ben Mann right there. Shut it down, stop the momentum. And although Rich Bielen is able to get out of bounds, Ben Mann, the weight room monster, gained 20 pounds in the offseason. He's able to get a big hit right there.
Bielen rolls left. Fakes the pass. Little jump pass to Marcus Fawcett. And Fawcett does a great job to get out of bounds, and more flags fly.
I mean, Hayes just won't stop marching. Rich Bielen is finding every option in the world right now. Scrambling out of the pocket, seeing receivers. His vision for the field has been truly on display today. And, I mean, it just looks effortless out there. He gets out of the pocket on the far side and makes a nice and easy pass to make Marcus Fawcett's life easy. And now they find themselves just outside of the red zone.
All right, let's see the call here as our official, Chris Ashenson, has been busy.
Yeah, Atchinson's been seeing a lot of those young mistakes, as we called them at the beginning of the broadcast. But even Chaminade has been getting their fair share here.
Wow, so a personal foul as well. 2 infractions on the play against Cardinal Hayes, so this will back them all the way up. And if it wasn't for the multitude of athletes that you have, you'd almost say it's better to just take a knee and go in and regroup at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, with 26 seconds here, it's definitely debatable. Maybe you just test the arm of Bielen here. Not much harm in just chucking it downfield. I mean, there is harm, obviously, but if Bielen can make something happen with under 30 seconds here, then Hayes could be in decent position headed into the locker room.
Bielen, short pass, finds Fawcett inside, tries to get himself to that first down marker, but he's stopped short, and Hayes will have to burn a timeout.
Yeah, that's going to be their first. Smart decision from Hayes right there. Stop that clock with 15 seconds to go. Now you got a third down. And Cardinal Hayes with a lot of field left to go. I mean, I think for this play right here, you just got to get it into the hands of one of your best receivers, a Fawcett or a Typha Mason. I think Mason would definitely be a good option right here. Find him on a short little pass and just let him go to work. Get it as far downfield as you possibly can. And maybe you have time for an extra play or two downfield.
John, how important is this game for for Cardinal Hayes? Let's look at their upcoming schedule. They are home for St. Anthony's. They're at Stepanak, and they close out the regular season against a pair of Staten Island foes in St. Joe's C and at Moore Catholic. But certainly, look, you're 0-3, staring at 0-4, and then you've got St. Anthony's and Stepanak. You do not want to be 0-6 going into the final 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, that would not be fun. And I mean, it's tough. It really is, facing those two opponents. And I think a win right here is just only going to help this team as they go forward. I mean, we said it at the top, but St. Anthony's and Stepanak are two incredible opponents, and no matter what happens in those games, a win here might be more important than those two losses.
3rd and 2, low snap. Bielen back to pass. He's going to, I thought he was going to show off that arm. Tucks it under, and he gets out of bounds. Good job by Bielen. He gets a chunk of yards. He moves the chains, and he gets out of bounds to boot.
Yeah, Beelan just tucks it, gets the first down, 7 seconds. Now this is probably territory for maybe you get one more play in there, but if you've got enough time, you've got timeouts to burn. So I think this could be territory for a quick pass, get out of bounds, just put the field goal kicker in better position.
You've got multiple options at the top of your screen there. You saw them. It's Cleveland Charlton at the bottom by himself. Beelan surveys the situation. Will go end zone. It is a jump ball. It will go to the back of the end zone, actually to the track. And that is the way the first half ends. It's been a battle, as we expected, and the Flyers of Chaminade have a 13-6 lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering, you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
If you're an event or
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. It is halftime, and it's Chaminade with a 13-6 lead. We welcome you inside the press box here at Gold Star Stadium. I've replaced John's. That's not John Baccio, that's John Perez.
There you go.
Working the sidelines, and I guess today the roof as well. I know John's hungry. I am as well, and we're certainly really thrilled. We love these halftime food reviews, and we've got a great one here today, John, as of course, Guac Shop Mexican Grill. You can see there are 5 locations: Garden City, Jericho, Wantagh, Freeport, and New Hyde Park. You've got some close ones here to Chaminade. So if this taste goes well for you, John, you can pick some up to bring home as well. GuacShopMexicanGrill.com is the website. So today we're trying, I'm going to go keto bowl, right? So I've got shredded lettuce, chicken, pico de gallo, guacamole, queso, shredded cheese, and chipotle mayo. John, I'm not sure. Did you win the flip or did I win the flip? I think we both win, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you're going to go with the old school kind of the chicken quesadilla as well. So we're going to get your box here. Let's get this on camera. First of all, this is incredible. This is like I don't know. Can you see it here? This is like 10 pounds here of the keto bowl, and
I feel like I'm opening up a treasure chest here.
you certainly are.
Quesadilla
I can tell you that right now.
There we go. All right.
So the quesadilla, you got shredded cheese in there, chicken, sautéed fajita vegetables, chipotle mayo, cilantro, aioli on the side. All right, let's get down to the fun stuff here.
Now, I passed the Jericho location on the way here, and I was salivating, and then when I remembered that we were reviewing at halftime, I couldn't wait. So this is maybe 2 or 3 hours in the making. So, Dylan, I'm pretty excited. So cheers, my friend. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff.
The flavors of a keto bowl. Sorry, guys. Amazing, right? Like, you got the cheese on top, right, which brings that mild. You got that the heat as well. The pico de gallo, the guacamole, the queso. I think it's the chipotle mayo that gives you the extra little kick. Incredible stuff. And how about the chicken quesadilla?
Soft tortilla. I love a soft tortilla. That's how you get into my heart, number one. But you're right. It's a chipotle sauce. Love pico de gallo. A good mix here. And, I mean, hey, how can you go wrong with a quesadilla at Guac Shop? It's simply the best.
And you know what's great, too, about both of these options that we're having, excuse me, right now, is these are healthy, friendly options, right? So often, right, like you try to eat well and try to eat healthy, and what happens, right? You sacrifice the taste, right? You want to eat something that's good for you, and on the other side, right, you want to get something, that tastes really good, and sometimes you're not getting the healthy. You get both here with Guac Shop, and both of these options, they're healthy, friendly options. You do not sacrifice the flavor. In fact, I think you enhance it with, as you mentioned, that chipotle mayo.
Which is great because I'm just coming off of a diet right now, and, you have your cheat days. This is really a cheat day. You can have this with all your other meals. So fantastic job at a Guac Shop. It's delicious.
Yeah, thank you again to Guac Shop. Let's pull up their logo. There you see it again, Guac Shop Mexican Grill. Those 5 locations in Nassau County: Garden City, Jericho, Wantagh, Freeport, and New Hyde Park. Guac Shop MexicanGrill.com. Send it back to break as we get to chow down a little bit here in the Gold Star Stadium press box. 13-6 the lead for Chaminade. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering: you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
One more time.
Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Riding stance.
2, 1.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Varsity Media is the tri-state area sports leader. We offer an array of services for any team, coach, player, athletic director, and parent. From game film to live streaming, we are available to cover your event anytime, any place. Looking for an enhanced experience? How about a professional broadcast with multiple camera angles, announcers, graphics, and instant replay? Need a highlight reel? We produce individual highlights for college recruiting and team highlight videos for end-of-season banquets. And when it comes to social media, nobody has you covered better than us. Hype videos, sideline highlights. We can tailor custom videos to make your team stand out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Why waste your time dealing with anyone else? When it comes to sports video, Varsity Media stands alone. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering, you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android.
We see extraordinary life, the most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
One more time.
Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Running stance.
2, 1.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering, you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Second half just about set to start. Dylan Butler here with John Baccio, and John, loved it, man. You jumped in there, man. You found the hole there at the quesadilla box, and you jumped right in to get some of the great guac shop stuff. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, how could you not? You see a little quesadilla there, and you got to just pounce on it when you can.
You have to. There you see the score, 13-6, some first half stats. Yardage, obviously heavily slanting Cardinal Hayes, 101 to 36. The completions, a lot more attempts there by Rich Beelan, 9 of 20, 4 of 11 for Diegues, but it all comes down right to the score, and that's where Chaminade has the lead. I want to thank the great Daniel Coleman, with those first half stats.
Yeah, Dan, great job. But, we've seen it been a little bit one-sided today in terms of yardage, but we also see the scoreboard at the end of the day. Chaminade's up, and it's been a rough game on both sides, I would say. Sloppiness has been a bit of a trend that we've seen today. A lot of flags being thrown on both sides of the ball. But something that I think has really swayed this game in Chaminade's favor is the offense. Jack Tully being back is bigger than anybody could have imagined. We saw them with a rough loss last week against Archbishop Stepinac. They didn't have Tully that week. This week they get him back, and they have just been firing on all cylinders. Tully's been all over the place, and he's made some top 10 catches if you want to see that out on the Varsity Media app. But either way, that has been a huge key for Chaminade today. And the quarterback play, it's been pretty even so far, but Rich Beelan, he's definitely been showing off that arm talent.
Now, you mentioned that loss for Chaminade in week 3, that 34-3 defeat here to Stepinac. The Crusaders, the lone undefeated team remaining in the Catholic AAA. We saw yesterday that incredible game between St. Anthony's and Iona Prep where the Friars went up to New Rochelle and got a win. And offside right away. So apparently those flags didn't get cleaned up at halftime. John is right away on the opening kickoff. Hayes lined up offside.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. We've talked about it a million times today, but those young mistakes are already being prominent within this first, not even a second of the game.
And C.J. O'Neill, when he talked about those young mistakes, he said it's all kinds of different mistakes, right? So his hope, he said, was, all right, we checked that one off the box. Let's go on to the next. And we'll check that one off. So maybe offside on the opening kickoff of the second half will be a box checked off for the Crusaders now.
And mistakes on kickoffs are not uncommon to this squad. In the Kellenberg game, they had an onside kick, and these younger players had not even seen one before, to the point that the only player to move was Typha Mason, and then they ended up not recovering it.
Tully, a great return, gets out to the 45. He picked it up at the 20. So Tully impacting the game here as well in specials.
Yeah, Tully, that's one of his first kickoff returns of the season. In fact, the main guy that's been back there to return kicks so far this year has been Gavin Creo. Creo on about 11 or just over 10 kickoff returns this year, has over 300 return yards. He's been absolutely electric, and John Carroll the same on the punt returns. That's definitely been an aspect of Chaminade that has always been reliable, the special teams.
So Flyers start the second half, 1st and 10 from their own 45, and Tully bursts ahead for about 2. And you wonder too, John, we've really not seen the Chaminade, especially the skill players, all the guys, all those pieces of the puzzle that you want to put on together on the field at the same time, because you had Frankie Carroll injured early in the season, right? So you had to go to a couple different guys. Even Pat Graham was hurt for that St. Anthony's game. You mentioned Tully's injury. Now you've got another injury as well with Gary Correa out. So you've not had, all the guys that you want, all your maybe, on your depth chart, all your first options. And here's a really good option, obviously, out of the backfield, Tully is your first option, and he sets up a very manageable 3rd and short.
Yeah, but something that we have seen this year, I mean, the replacements for these players have really come up clutch this year. I mean, you've got guys like Matt Chaminade that has stepped into Gary Correa's role. Only 3 receptions on the year, but he totals at 90 yards. Heading into last game, he was their leading receiver with only about 5 targets for Matt Dieguez, and stuff like that is really what you love seeing out of these backups that step into a huge role in that offense.
Correa had surgery on that broken collarbone the day after the St. Anthony's game, and he's hoping he can maybe get back for that Week 1 playoff. Long bomb. Oh, and what a catch by Creo. Dives in. Touchdown, Chaminade.
What a play. It's Gavin Creo, ladies and gentlemen. He is back, and what a ball downfield. Matt Dieguez finally finds his man. Gavin Creo shows off the speed right there, beats the DB, and he could not have found him in a better spot. Matt Dieguez puts it right in the breadbasket. Creo, what a route on Corey Rock. Let's just get it going. And Matt Dieguez gets it in for 6, now at 13, looking for a 14-point lead here in Gold Star.
Creo, his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. Tomlinson's PAT is up, and it is no good. So another point left on the board, but Gavin Creo, his future is with Richmond on the lacrosse field, but his present very much on the gridiron here for Chaminade. Flyers lead at 19-6. Take a quick break here. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
Back to Gold Star Stadium after that 47-yard touchdown reception by Gavin Creo. His 2nd of the game has extended the Flyers' lead to 19-6. Tomlinson, not even a chance for the return. A touchback, another one for Tomlinson.
And that's where Tomlinson really shows off the kick strength. I mean, that one almost went through the uprights. All the way from the kickoff. That was pretty insane. But Tim Tomlinson, he's really earned those all 5 of those stars that he's gotten. The number 6 kicker in his class as rated by Cole's kicking competitions. I mean, the guy's an absolute monster, and he missed the PAT earlier on, but you can't ask for much more from the junior. Was the main varsity kicker last year, and time again, he just shows off the boot.
Had that rare miscue or just a bad day, right, at Paramus Catholic. If it's his usual day, Chaminade comes away with a big win in New Jersey. Tomlinson on the year, or coming into this game, was 3 of 4 with PATs, 2 of 5. His long was 42 this year, but he's had to add as well in the punts this year, where he's averaging almost 39 yards per punt. Yes, he's a guy. You've seen some really good ones here at Chaminade. Tomlinson's the latest. He will have an opportunity to play on the next level.
You talked about that 42-yarder. He had a 54-yarder last year, the 2nd longest in Chaminade history.
Beelan fakes the handoff, goes over the middle. Oh, what a catch. Fawcett had to get it down to his kneecaps and somehow grabbed it at the 40.
What a play right there from Fawcett. As you said, makes the catch right at his knees. And now you can see the replay right here. Play action. Beelan's got all the time in the world. Makes a nice and easy throw. And he puts it in a good spot for Fawcett to get a huge gain.
You go far side, and there is Typha Mason, that jitterbug, if you will. He'll get a couple on that first down play.
Yeah, honestly, Cardinal Hayes on this drive, they just got to take it nice and easy. Now you're down 13 points. You just need to land yourself in the end zone here, and we've seen Cardinal Hayes show off their ability on the football field today. They've just got to keep these drives going. Make them quick. I mean, we just saw Rich Beelan with a huge pass right there to Fawcett. That's about a 30-yard gain, and now they put themselves in good position. If they could just keep it moving fast, this could be a good drive.
Antoine finds the hole, and that hole was created, looked like it was 85 for...
That's Reed Jones.
Yeah, Reed Jones. And you see, too, here, Hayes likes to try to hurry up. And there you get a flag on the play. And it'll be a false start. They went a little bit too quick that time.
Yeah, that'll push them back a few yards. And right now, Cardinal Hayes is really just hurting themselves. They're preventing themselves from winning this game. They're down 19-6, and the amount of flags that we've seen thrown on this squad has just been not fun. Not fun, to say the least.
Beelan fakes over the middle. Intended target was Mason, and that's one thing, too. You see what Chaminade's doing, where they're just getting in Beelan's face. The pressure is something that O'Neal mentioned, and how tough that front seven is for Chaminade. They never give you room to breathe, and even with a guy like Beelan and his athletic ability, he's still throwing under duress.
Yeah, I mean, Beelan was already pressured by three guys right there off the play action. That was Seamus Miller, Luke Ventura, and Matt Rappa, all in the backfield, looking to get a stop right there, and Rich Beelan now with an underthrow, pressured by three.
4th down for Hayes, and as we just said, the pressure comes, and Chaminade forces the turnover. Dean Aquilina right in the middle, big number 66.
Aquilina right on cue. He stands at 6'3", 250. He's an absolute monster, a top 100 player on Long Island, according to Newsday. And, I mean, you can't ask for much more from this D-line. Dean Aquilina puts in a shift off the edge, and right there he gets a huge TFL to get the turnover on downs.
He is so fast off the football, just instinctive. 6'3", 250, came in with 13 tackles on the year. So off the turnover, here comes Tully. And I'll tell you, John, it's been a really steady diet, right, of Tully and Creo. And to this point, Cardinal Hayes really hasn't had a response.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it. This is Tully's 13th carry of the game, and now it even gets to the point where they got to take him off the field. You put Jake Solomon in, and Solomon actually had a really, really good game last time around. Rushed for a bunch of yards against Archbishop Stepanak. Really showed his worth in a game that meant a lot.
2nd and 6 for Chaminade. And you mentioned you go to the backup, no problem. Another nice burst, and that should, and it will move the chains.
Yeah, it's going to be Solomon's second carry of the game. Now he's got 20 yards on his tally. So 10 per here for Chaminade, and they just keep these chains moving, and the run game has really, it's just Chaminade's prototype. I mean, last year we saw it with Christian Alakwa. He rushed for 1,000 yards on the season. And in a season with only 7 games, I mean, I think it goes to show how insane that stat line is. And even the playoffs, he was immense as well. Against Cardinal Hayes last year, he had 170 yards. So it really goes to show how much the running backs matter in the SO.
Solomon again bobbled it a little bit, and he looks like he'll just get back to that original line of scrimmage. And this Hayes defense, they've given up some points, right? You give up 27 to Iona Prep. Again, no harm there. Obviously, one of the best teams in the Catholic League. You give up 40 at Rutgers to Pope John, and then 36 last week to Kellenberg.
Yeah, that's really been Cardinal Hayes' only downside this season. Their defense just can be lackluster at points. I mean, the interior defensive line is improving every day, and Kamari McIntyre and Blake Beelan aren't people you want to mess with in the middle of the field. And you see it right here as Gavin Creo burns him on the edge.
He gets inside the 20. He's forced out of bounds, but the clock will continue to run. That's the other part. Sorry, John. That's the other part of Creo's game, right, where that versatility as both that receiving and rushing option as well.
Yeah, and that's a great play call right there. I mean, you bring in some bigger guys. You saw Tommy Atkinson get some run on the field. He stands at 6'3". Definitely a big guy that could set a good block for Gavin Creo out in front, and just let Creo go to work.
So ball on the 18-yard line. 3rd down for Chaminade. Solomon to the left hip. Dieguez goes scrambling to the right, and he's forced out. Great defense there as Dylan Means forced him out of bounds.
And you see, that's where sometimes the Chaminade offense can just get a little bit shaky. Matt Dieguez takes the snap, looks back, and he only looks at Gavin Creo. He keeps his eyes zoned in on him. He had a couple receivers that could have gotten some outside leverage. You had Pat Bruno and Chaminade on the near side. And although they weren't the most open in the world, if he just took a look at them, they definitely would have been more open than Creo was on that play.
So Tomlinson on to attempt the 40-yard field goal. He's got a nice wind at his back as well.
I mean, this is Tim Tomlinson range right here if I've ever seen it.
Snap is good. Tomlinson's kick has the distance, and it is good. So Tomlinson, we mentioned before, a 42-yarder. He's now got a 40-yarder as well, and he extends the Chaminade lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
All right, everybody. Here at Guac Shop, catering is certainly our specialty. Our catering menu is comprised of various all-inclusive packages, ranging from 10 guests all the way up to 1,000. Our motto here at Guac Shop with catering, you handle the guest list, we'll handle the food. See you guys soon.
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Baccio here with you. John Perez, the 3rd member of our broadcast team. 22-6, the lead for the Flyers. As Tomlinson, he likes kicking that way, that is for sure. He puts another ball through the back of the end zone. And when we spoke with Kevin Dolan about this season, and obviously come off a really terrific year a year ago, back to back, because again, 2020, no championship game, back-to-back AA champions. You beat Kellenberg and more Catholic, and you see the history as well for Chaminade in the AAA. That incredible game in 2012, that came down to a field goal. Zane Wasp kicked that one for Chaminade, and then you beat Farrell in 98. 87, St. John the Baptist Holy Family in 78. But this is the level that Chaminade wants to play at on a consistent basis. Obviously, there were struggles in the AAA, which forced them down to AA, but this is where they want a ball going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, something that's new for Chaminade this year is they're guaranteed a spot in the AAA playoffs. And that's exactly where, as you said, they want to be. They go down to AAA, and boom, they win the championship 43-7, that entire playoff run. The Flyers went through that one with ease, so they really want to test themselves in that AAA with those top competitors like your Anthony's, your Iona Preps, etc.
Handoff, and that's Antoine again stuffed. And yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, you kind of boil it down. Where did that separation happen? How did you go from AA or AAA potential to AA last year? And Dolan pointed to that Kellenberg loss. You were here, you called it on Local Live, and that was a game that really hurt Chaminade in terms of looking to be AAA. This year it's different because you've got a true 8. Like, you're not going to have a AA team play in the AAA or vice versa, as now Beelan has to scramble, rolls right. Great job by Beelan. hit hard by Marshall, and looks like that's where you'll get a little extra against Chaminade.
I'm not sure about that one. I think that's John Marshall just going to work right there, and although maybe a bit of a weird hit, you're going to see it right here. Let's see the feedback.
Well, first of all, great job by Beelan, right?
Yeah, Beelan stepping up in the pocket, making a nice play.
Nice block upfield.
Marshall finally comes in. Yeah, leans in with the elbow, straight to the helmet. It's understandable. Marshall, the junior, just getting a little bit undisciplined, I guess you could say right there. Tough break for the Flyers is now Cardinal Hayes is going to get moved far upfield. And you mentioned it before, but that Kellenberg game last season, I mean, what a game that was. As now you see Rob Colhane coming in for John Marshall after the flag. But as you were saying, that Kellenberg game last year was huge, and you could tell the tone and how that game was going to go right off the first play of the game. The kickoff returned for a 97-yard touchdown, and that just set the tone. A 34-3 final score, I believe that was, and that was the time that Chaminade was kind of thinking, hey, you know what, we got to win out the rest of this season. And it was a tough schedule from then on. They weren't able to do it, and unfortunately they landed themselves in Double-A, as now as Chaminade Flyer is still on the ground here.
No, you're right. As that player gets looked at, let's look at the upcoming schedule for Chaminade. And you mentioned earlier on, John, there's a light a little bit, right, after this game. And this is why Dolan thought if his team could be victorious here today, you've got that chance to maybe string off a few, right? You've got a struggling Fordham Prep and Christ the King back-to-back, a game at Holy Trinity, which should be a lot of fun for a lot of different reasons. And then you end up the season at Iona Prep. And one thing that Dolan said, too, is, you don't want to have to be in that situation where maybe you have to go back-to-back against Iona. Obviously, the way the standings are looking at right now, your top three, in whatever order you want to put them, you got a St. Anthony's, you've got Stepanak, you've got Iona Prep. Daunting teams, no doubt about it, but you're going to have to play them at some point. But certainly Chaminade thinks if you can get this game, you get this win, get off the schneid, an opportunity to maybe get some wins together.
Yeah, 100%. And we were even talking about it right at the beginning where Chaminade, right after this, they play Fordham Prep. Last year against Fordham Prep, they went 2-0 against them. That's a regular season and a playoff game. And they could definitely take care of business. Although Fordham Prep, much improved this season. They've definitely had some different outcomes to last, where you see a lot more competitiveness. Same with Christ the King, actually. Christ the King last year, I mean, Chaminade went into Mitchell Field against them, beat them 44-4, and now they're going to play them this year, and Christ the King has just been a super high-powered offense. As now Brian Friel gets back up.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for Chaminade. Really, Friel, kind of that quarterback, that leader, right, of that defensive secondary. We mentioned before that wild game at the rooftop. He had a pick six in that game, and we certainly wish him the best going forward.
Yeah, you see that right leg not being put on the ground, kind of stretching it out as he gets back to the sideline. But Friel, I mean, he's been absolutely locked down. He had that pick six against Cardinal Hayes last year, and even this year in the first game of the season against St. Anthony's, had an interception on one of the first plays of the entire game. Unfortunately, Chaminade got all the way down to the 3 on that play and weren't able to get anything more than 3. But either way, that's going to be a big hit for the rest of this game.
So 1st and 10 for Hayes at the Chaminade 46-yard line. Beelan in the air. Oh, he's got a wide open receiver, and that's Charlton at the 30, and he's pulled down. Another first down for Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah, and that's just a tough break right there. You saw on the near side, it was Rob Colhane and also the safety, Mike Maggio. You got the replay right here. You're going to see Colhane at the bottom of your screen. He drifts back. He lets Charlton go by. He goes down to the near receiver, and Charlton's just wide open for a decent reception right there. Tough break for the Flyers as Colhane on his first play lets it up in his zone.
He's that receiver for Cardinal Hayes that looks a little bit different than the others, right? He's got the size at 6'3", as Antoine tries to follow the right guard and only gets a couple. But going back to Cleveland Charlton, he's a guy, you saw him in those 7-on-7s, and, it's hard to sort of detail and and project from 7-on-7 to real football with pads on, but O'Neal said you saw it coming with him in those 7-on-7, just had to come together and put everything together, and he said it has, but obviously he's tall, athletic. The strides are so long with Cleveland Charlton. So a loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Beelan back to pass. Goes far sideline. That is complete to Perez. And there's a collision among Flyer defenders as I believe Perez did get to the first down marker.
Yeah, and you saw Charlie Battaglia fly to the far side right there. Battaglia been somewhat quiet this game. Normally we see him get a ton of solo tackles, ton of assisted tackles, and, he's always in the mix, but right there you saw his true prowess on the field.
So correction there, it's a 3rd and 1, so he's just shy of the first down marker. Beelan's got Antoine behind him. Antoine gets the handoff, and quiet no more. Battaglia pushes them forward, a little extracurriculars as well on the line. And it looks like that the spot of the football will set up a 4th and short.
Yeah, Charlie Battaglia right there. He's everything you look for in that crazy inside linebacker, very Ray Lewis type.
Beelan. Yeah, Dolan went, and now Beelan goes like goal line, and I think he got the push. What a smart play. Great play call, and the sophomore Rich Beelan does really well. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of pointing both ways, but this, did he get it is the question. I thought at first glance live that he did, but spot of the football, I think he might be.
That's saying otherwise.
Yeah, it looks like he's short. Well, they'll bring out the chains.
You know what? Now that they're bringing it out, I think he got it.
And there you see it on a replay. And he does.
Yeah, as you said, great play call right there from Coach O'Neal. Rich Beelan, this playbook isn't the most diversified thing in the world. We've seen a lot of the...
And it can't be. They're so young.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they've got to develop to this sort of simplified scheme, but Rich Beelan right there gets nice and creative and just pushes forward for the first down.
Fake handoff. Beelan under pressure. Spins out of it. Wow. Beelan still on his feet. This time throws end zone. Touchdown, Cardinal Hayes. Typha Mason.
Are you kidding me? We were talking about top 10 plays before. Can we talk about that? Rich Beelan maneuvers in the pocket, and let's take another look. Steps up, gets rid of many tacklers, gets out of the pocket, points the man upfield, and Typha Mason tops it off.
Incredible stuff as Mason with the 18-yard touchdown reception, but it was so much Rich Beelan. And now Mason kind of stuck on the field a little bit too long. Typha did, and it'll be a penalty against Cardinal Hayes. It'll back him up. 22-12 your score now as we anticipate another two-point conversion attempt by the Cardinals.
Yeah, and Beelan today, he's been great. Now 153 yards through the air. He's 14 for 26 with 2 passing TDs.
Yeah, the first to Cleveland Charlton as Beelan. Oh, nice fake. Corner end zone. Incomplete. The intended target was Marcus Fawcett.
Fawcett tried to get fancy right there. Leaps up for the one-handed grab. And although that would have looked very, very nice, just can't keep a grip on it.
So Cardinal Hayes gets on the board, and they're looking to make it interesting here in the final 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We showed you Chaminade's championship history before. This is an interesting one for Hayes, John, because you look at it, they're that rare team that has won on all 3 levels of the Catholic League. They won an A championship, they won a AA championship, and a AAA. And so many of those too, John, were under C.J. O'Neal. He's literally built this team up from a Class A team to obviously one that beat Stepanak twice in AAA games. He also has that great sense of humor, so he'll tell you, yeah, we're the first team probably to win at all 3 levels. We also lost at all 3 levels in a championship game. Funny thing here, too, is the win over Ford, the win over Mount St. Michael, and the win over Stepanak, both of them came after losing to those teams the year before. So they suffered a tough championship loss. They rebounded the year after. They got their revenge against the same team. But you can see under O'Neal's leadership, 05, 13, 16, 19, the championships for Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah, and I mean, that just shows the relentlessness of Coach O'Neal. And Kevin Dolan said it himself. He's just an incredible coach. He's all over the place, and he's really able to adapt to whatever he's given. He got given a Class A team. He takes them all the way to AAA. He gets given a AA team. He takes them again to AAA. I mean, the squad, no matter what he's given, C.J. O'Neal knows how to work with it.
O'Neal in his 20th season, a 1989 graduate of Mount St. Michael. A little pooch by Beelin. Look out. It's loose, and good job by the hands team there for Chaminade. Looked like it was Tim Battaglia. You mentioned the brother, and Tim makes the grab to make sure that it's safe there. And to go back a moment with C.J. O'Neal, there's congratulations and there's also condolences. It was a very emotional 9 days where he welcomed in his first daughter, Charlotte Ann. She was born on August 24th. And then CJ's mom, Ellen O'Neal, passed away at the age of 83 just 9 days later. Said it was probably a couple weeks of my life I will never forget. So Chaminade, a first down toward midfield here, final 2:15 of the third quarter. Tully's fresh after getting a little bit of a rest on that last series, and he gets out to about the 47.
It's back. We're right back to work. Jack Tully with a carry right there. That one's going to go down as his 14th of the game. And this is just what Jack Tully does. Now he's got 52 carries on the season. He's reaching just about 300 yards. And with one less game played than most of the rest, he only dropped to 7th in the CHSFL in rushing. He's going to get right back up there in this third game.
Diegues over the middle. His intended target was Creo. That was incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, tough ball right there for Matt Diegues. He sees the man downfield, and it's Creo again. He was looking for him for possibly Creo's third touchdown of the game. But, I mean, Gavin Creo, he's been great today. And Matt Diegues knows who he's looking for on most plays.
And I think, too, and it's hard, right, as a quarterback to judge the weather. And again, the wind is blowing that way. So you've got to be so accurate with those long balls especially. And maybe that one got a little bit out of Diegues' hands and into the jet stream a little bit. 3rd and 5. Tully again up the middle. A first down run to the Cardinal Hayes 45-yard line.
What can I say? Tully's just been great. And another thing, going back to Matt Diegues, is now you see the replay of Tully right here. Finds his way right up the middle. And that's just an easy first down for Jack Tully. The explosiveness, the way that he's able to move his body. I mean, he's just insane.
Approaching the final minute of the third quarter. And a big series here for Chaminade. You want to respond to what Hayes just did. You don't want to give the visitors from the Bronx any momentum. And here comes Tully again. Gets inside the 40, and he's starting to get, and I think you give the credit to Tully, but also obviously those big boys up front. He's starting to get those 5-6 yards at a clip.
100%. I mean, we mentioned him earlier on in the game, but this unit is nothing that you want to play with. Connor Burmis and Rob Loudett were two guys last year that really almost didn't even sniff playing time. This year they step into a huge starting role on the two ends, the left and right tackles. And I mean, have we seen any pressure off the edge today? Basically, no. So those guys have really been putting in a shift.
2nd and 5, and again, Tully goes up the middle. Pulled down about the 36, but that should be the last play of the third quarter. We've had some highlights, We've had some tough plays, some penalties as well, but through 3 quarters, Chaminade that much closer to win number 1 on the 2022 season. Final quarter coming up next. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
A clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
Welcome back to the Varsity Media Sports Network as we get set for the 4th quarter here at Gold Star Stadium at Chaminade High School. And let's throw it over to the other side. For Cardinal Hayes, it's no secret that the Beeland family is quickly becoming the first family of the Cardinal Hayes athletic department. But it's not for an older Hayesman that actually led to the Beelands coming over to Cardinal Hayes. And it all starts with Henry Beeland III, of course, the former player at Vanderbilt and now a pastor at AME Church in Harlem, the same church that Willie Colon, probably one of the best players in Hayes program history. He attended that church, got to know Reverend Beeland. The two got to talking, told him about his experience at Cardinal Hayes, and gave it a look, sent his sons to the open house, loved it, and of course sent Henry IV, who is now playing for the Duke Blue Devils down in Durham, North Carolina, and a ton of interest at the D1 level for Rich and Drake. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, John. You saw Tully there rush for another first down, but John, we'll talk about it more after this play, but the first family really kind of New York City football, certainly. Diegas, that one's blocked down at the line. You saw there the pause of Teddy Holland getting a piece, but what a great story, right, where as John told us, right, you've got these 3 Beeland boys, and you got that great combination, right, of the dad who played at Vanderbilt, the mom who's an attorney, right? So you've got the athleticism, you got the smarts, and then that incredible connection with arguably the greatest alum on the football team, Willie Colon, who obviously went and won a Super Bowl with the Steelers and played for the Jets, and just a great story all around.
I mean, yeah, you can't ask for much more from this family. Rich Beeland, Henry, you've got Blake Beeland on the D-line. I mean, all over the place. It is just talent after talent. And I would say the only downside of being in that family is now you got to be compared to the next guy. But other than that, I mean, it's awesome to see what this family's prowess is on the field and both off of it.
Tully with the big run, and good to see him up right away. You can see the trainer came out immediately kind of sprinting out. Thought maybe perhaps it was a worse situation than it was, but Tully goes to the sideline. He seems to be all right. Solomon back in as that main running back for Hayes, but you're right. I mean, Henry Beeland kind of paves the way. He's now at Duke. You've got offers for Temple, and Temple's smart, right? We'll take both of you guys.
Yeah.
Blake, Rich, come on. Commit early, please. And there's Solomon again. And he gets inside the 15, and once again, you've got to give the credit to all those big numbers and the big boys up front. You know, they would love some guac shop in them as well, as they are just opening up massive holes. There you see it right there. Dietrich as well pushing forward, allowing Solomon to get through.
Yeah, I mean, if they saw that quesadilla like I did, I think they would have pounced on it too. But either way, I mean, the O-line's been great today. The rushing today has been great. Tully's officially cracked 100 yards on the day. And now Jake Solomon just coming back in and immediately doing exactly what Tully can do.
Hand off to Solomon again. Oh, this time, Beelan. He's eating right now.
And the play call right there, honestly, just tough. Blake Beelan finds a really good read right there as Jake Solomon on 1st and 10 gets taken all the way back.
Yeah, Beelan, 6'2", 40. O'Neill says you're seeing teams run off a tackle constantly with that combination of Beelan Valentine in the middle. So 2nd and 12 for Chaminade. Another handoff comes this way. And good to see Tully back in the game for the Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, he just makes it look effortless. He cuts it to the near side edge, beats all of his men, and gets Chaminade right back to about a 3rd and 8.
And look, we saw a 40-yarder before, right? So certainly, you know, unless you turn the ball over, if you don't get in the end zone here, you're pretty comfortable with Tomlinson, even though you are going into the win, that Tomlinson can get this one through the uprights and extend the Flyers' lead.
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Tomlinson last year hit a 52-yarder as a sophomore.
Dieguez. Motion right, some movement as well up front. You saw Chaminade motion, and it'll be a false start on the offense.
Yeah, tough scene right there. False start on the offensive line. Now they're going to get pushed all the way back. It's still Tomlinson range, but it's tough Tomlinson range. Now Chaminade going to be tasked with a 3rd and long. They're talking it over in the huddle. Honestly, it's pretty simple, but you got to expect a pass right here from Dieguez. You've probably got one-on-one coverage with Corey Rock and Gavin Creo, and you do on the near side, and I think that's got to be Dieguez's option. A slant over the middle, I think, would work really nicely here for Creo and Dieguez to match up.
Oh, Tully, what a hole. And Tully gets in the end zone. Touchdown, Chaminade.
Well, never mind what I said. I mean, that works just fine, too. Jack Tully gets the block set beautifully for him, finds his way up the middle, maneuvers into the end zone, and you'll see it again right here. I mean, look at those blocks being set. Lucas Catogio, Connor Burmis, and Nick Rinaldi paving the way for Jack Tully to only see green grass and make his way to the white line in the end zone.
"19-yard touchdown run for Tully, his 2nd touchdown run of the game. He went 35 yards to make it 13-6, and Tomlinson with the PAT. So now all those points that you lost on the extra points, well, they're back and then some as Chaminade extends their lead to 29-12. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
One more time.
Come on, one more. One more?
One more. Riding stance.
2, 1.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium here in Mineola. It's 29-12. Chaminade with the lead off that 19-yard touchdown run from Tully, his 2nd touchdown of the game. And Tomlinson, this one, it will get returned at about the 12-yard line by number 12, Elijah Ford. He goes far sideline, and he's taken out of bounds. So long field again, though, for Cardinal Hayes and the Chaminade faithful feeling it here, where this opportunity where it's been a tough opening month of the regular season, but even though the skies here are gray, they see that ray of sunshine and an opportunity here to close things out and get that all-important first win of the season.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of Rays, let's kind of take it back to Chaminade's offense here. They've really been seeing those the two Rays up top, and they've been taking advantage. You know, the second level has been really nice to them today, and the safeties just have not been able to capitalize with players like Jack Tully running all over them.
Beelan back to pass, under pressure, throws a bomb down the middle of the field, and he overthrows Fawcett by about 20 yards. But I guess Beelan could put that on his highlight film for the ability to throw.
I want to say that was a full 50-yarder. It bounced down at about the 18, I want to say, and he threw it from his own 18 after even running around a little bit. And that just shows off the arm talent. That's why this guy's got 6 high D1 offers. I mean, you don't just get him for nothing. And really, I mean, that was insanity.
I think that ball landed in Queens somewhere. 9:03 left in this one. Hayes needs to get some points on the board. Beelan looks, short pass, Fawcett. Wow, still came away with it. And how about that? You go from bobbling the football as you're spinning like a top, still getting a couple extra yards out to the 30.
Fawcett playing hot potato with the football right there, just bobbling it up as it gets thrown hard by Beelan. And you know what? He still gets a good couple yards out of it, but now you've got a third down and a medium. About 5 yards here to go, and Beelan can really make it happen with 8:35 left in the fourth. Cardinal Hayes is now in desperation time.
You've got trips right for Beelan, who's got Antoine next to him. Short pass to Perez. Gets outside the 40 and nearly to the 45-yard line. He moves the chains.
Good job right there by Beelan. Finds his man early and able to capitalize. And now he gets himself a first down just shy of the 45.
Low snap, Beelan. Throws it over the middle, off the hands of his intended target, which was Perez again.
And Nick Marino was right there for that one. He dove for the ball because he thought it was going to land, but Perez gets a hand on it. If he stays upright, that might be an interception from Beelan.
The words of C.J. O'Neal ring so true here in the fourth quarter. We've got a talented group, but we've got to start executing. We've got to be clean. We can't get penalties. And the execution has been there in spots, but certainly not consistent to this point. There is Antoine. Really nice tackle.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely been seen. We talk about the flags not being thrown, we can't hurt ourselves type of situation. Cardinal Hayes really in the second half has been good with it. Besides that first kickoff of the second half, which did go down as a flag, they've really kept it under control here, and they've been able to only help themselves by not getting called with flags.
I think it was Aquilina there with the tackle. And a 3rd and long now for Cardinal Hayes. Beelan rolls right. Look out. Pinto's chasing, as is Aquilina. Somehow avoids both and throws it into his own sideline.
Yeah, I mean, Beelan, really smart play right there, able to avoid the pressure. Aquilina was coming straight to him, and that's a tough player to beat. But he's able to get away from the tackle and just throw it away. Now they've got a 4th down and decent distance here. It should be a 4th and 10. Lining up right in the middle of the field.
And considering the clock and the score, and actually really what they've done all game, Hayes will go for it again. You got twin receivers at the top and bottom of your screen. Antoine, the running back, but pretty much just acting as that blocker. Look out. Pressure comes from the outside again. Beelan tucks it, elusive. But he's going nowhere. A host of Flyers tackle him, and it'll be another turnover on downs.
Yeah, great play right there from Chaminade's defense. It will be going the Flyers' way.
let's revisit our keys to the game and kind of see where we are with those now, John, right? So let's look at Hayes first. Limit mistakes. I think they've done a better job in the second half, but certainly mistakes. Continue the offensive growth. I think it's, it's been, again, starts and stops. They need to bounce the ball. They've gotten a couple of breaks with Fawcett making some great grabs, but Chaminade keep Beelan contained. That's easier said than done. Certainly win a line of scrimmage, yes, certainly. Chaminade has done that. And then C.J. O'Neal, right, like the crafty veteran head coach, Dolan lists him as a key. And I think we did see a little bit of trickery, right, the fake punt. But largely that hasn't resulted into a lot of points for the visitors. So probably a good job there as well from the head coach.
Yeah, as Tully gets taken down right there. I mean, keys to the game are pretty self-explanatory, but we definitely saw the bounce of the ball has not exactly gone Cardinal Hayes' way today.
Nor has it all year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just been rough. They talk a lot about executing, keeping these leads. They haven't led all game. Besides their first touchdown of the day, which they scored right after a Jack Tully fumble, which, speaking of Tully, that was his first carry of the game. Now he's gone on for 120-plus yards. But most definitely, the bounce of the ball really has not gone Cardinal Hayes' way today, but it's really not on them.
2nd and 9. And Diegues back to pass, lobs one far sideline, and that is incomplete. Frankie Cerrone, the intended receiver.
Yeah, that's a tough target right there from Diegues. He's got to make a throw over the DB's head, and he's got Frankie Cerrone definitely didn't have an easy matchup right there. On coverage was Giovanni Downer for Frankie Cerrone. Diegues had to try and loop it over Downer's head and get Cerrone inbounds on the sideline. Just a tough pass that he wasn't able to make.
Yeah, Downer is a tremendous athlete. He lines up at Sam for Hayes, but last year as well was a corner as Tully gets past midfield. But going back to number 2 for Hayes, Downer, as a sophomore, was a starting corner. He could play safety. He could play wide receiver, running back, another one of these young Hayes players who is just coming into his own.
Yeah, 100%. Giovanni Downer on the season, 25 tackles, 2 TFLs, and even a forced fumble. I mean, this guy can play everywhere on the field. He's just a super athletic guy that can line up against anybody.
So timeout by Hayes with 5:50 left in this fourth quarter. Varsity Media excited to be teaming up with the Yes Network app to bring high school football games to even more fans. Our broadcasts now are being simulcast on the Yes Network app, and when so many more as well. Again, you want to follow us on our social media handles to find out about our upcoming schedule as well, but we're really happy to be partnering with the Yes app. And John, don't know yet if we have the technology, said it yesterday, to get those Aaron Judge live look-ins yet. Well, we're working on it. We got the IT guys working. Maybe get maybe a picture-in-picture, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what's happening. That's what's been happening a lot on the big stages now. I mean, the Kentucky college football game yesterday, you had the picture-in-picture going a lot. Judge still looking for 62, but we're just going to have to see how that one goes. Maybe we could get that pretty soon.
Off the timeout, here is Tomlinson looking to get a nice punt. It takes actually a Hayes bounce, but still. And I think this is another part of the story and where Tomlinson is so effective is that a young but dangerous Hayes offense has still had to go long field, whether it's off of a kickoff, punts. We've not really seen them, other than maybe that lone turnover, having an opportunity to go short field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just been a rough day in terms of field position for Cardinal Hayes, and that's something that's definitely been on Chaminade's side today. I mean, 2 of their touchdowns, they had to march the whole way down the field, but a couple of them, it's just turnovers that Chaminade is able to get, especially turnover on downs. 4th down today has not been kind to Cardinal Hayes, and Chaminade is really, really taking advantage of that.
So 5:38 left in this fourth quarter. Beelan trying to pull off a miraculous comeback. Wow. That's a great catch on the sideline. That was Certainly not the intended target, but good catch there nonetheless.
I think Coach has got to get back on the field with that one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But, yeah, I mean, decent show of athleticism right there. Beelan not able to do much, kind of just going around in the pocket. Gets his feet planted and kind of gets trapped in the dirt right there and unable to make an accurate throw.
I think I think it's him being so unpredictable, which makes it tough, right? Because you're a defender and you're just trying to follow him, and then he'll just have a stutter stop or he'll cut inside, and now he is swallowed up right by the center portion of that defense. And again, it is Aquilina with the sack.
Yeah, I mean, what a play by this defensive line right here. You see Dean Aquilina on the outside edge. Beelan takes the snap. Aquilina has an inside job to get, and he makes it happen. Look at him taking down Beelan with ease.
Yeah, Pinto gets a piece as well, which sets up a 3rd and long from the Hayes 18-yard line. Again, the pressure comes. Beelan dumps it off to Antoine, breaks a tackle, and Antoine is so dangerous. He hasn't had these chances a lot, but when he gets into space, he can really do damage. And this time he moves the chains for Cardinal Hayes.
Yeah, and that was something we talked about early on. Kenneth Antoine could be a huge key in this game, but unfortunately we just haven't been able to talk about him much because of how good this Chaminade D-line is. But now we finally see him get involved in the passing game, and it's a 1st down for Hayes.
Approaching the 4-minute mark of this 4th quarter. Beelan, again, has got a scamper, just throws up a jump ball, and Fawcett nearly still came away with it.
Can't lie, Fawcett was kind of close to that one. If he keeps an eye on it, maybe that's a catch. Just a tough turn of the ball, though. Rich Beelan, he finds himself a lot in this kind of position where he's just standing flat-footed and just has to launch it downfield, and right there he gets caught in the same spot. Unfortunately, it's an incompletion, but Cardinal Hayes definitely could have had a good opportunity right there.
And you got to say, too, right, you could see the flashes, and you could see, yeah, it's that youth that C.J. O'Neal referenced. But you give these guys 8 weeks of football and 8 weeks of practice, and that's an intended target. Was Cleveland Charlton, an incomplete pass, but you could see why. And again, they make the playoffs. It's all those teams in the AAA that they're a team. Even C.J. O'Neal said it before this game that we're going to be a team, he said, that you don't want to probably face in the first round of the playoffs.
No, not at all. Cardinal Hayes is a really, really solid opponent. And although the turntables have not gone in their favor today or in their prior games, still, they are such a solid squad that almost nobody would want to face with that really just young core talent.
And you're starting to see more, too. We talked about the offensive line for Chaminade, well, now the defensive front is really breaking through this inexperienced offensive line for Hayes and putting even more pressure on Beelan. Quick out, finds Fawcett, but he'll be short of the 1st down marker, so it'll be another 4th down for Cardinal Hayes.
That's a good call right there from C.J. O'Neal. Keeps a lot of linemen down and ready to go because Chaminade was showing like they were going to send 7 right there. But still, very good play call from C.J. O'Neal to keep a bunch of linemen down, ready to go, and Rich Beelan is able to deliver a nice pass.
Let's take a quick break. 3:59 left in this 4th quarter. It is Chaminade with a 29-12 lead. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At Catholic Health, when we see our island, we see extraordinary life. The most extraordinary of which is you. It's because our Catholic faith places the highest value on people, all people. It's the inspiration for our exceptional medical care with unmatched compassion. And it's why at Catholic Health you're more than a patient. You're someone's family, best friend, and a neighbor to us all. Long live Long Island.
We're back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler and John Boccia with you. 4th down, trips right for Hayes. And that pass goes to Perez. This one will come back. AJ is running. Look out, Mr. Referee. But this will be a block in the back. The Chaminade coaches next to us, the sideline, the fans, everyone called that one for the officials.
Yeah, as soon as it happened, I mean, everybody saw that one coming. Perez even looked like he wasn't even taking as big of strides as soon as he saw that flag go down. Tough break for Cardinal Hayes right there. And that's just not necessarily a discipline issue, but that's just somebody trying to lay down a good block, set it up for his teammate. But an unfortunate turn of events is now Cardinal Hayes is going to get put all the way back.
And back to their own 30-yard line. A year ago, Cardinal Hayes was 5-6. They lost at St. Anthony's in the AAA quarterfinals, 42-28. But then they got that emotional win on Thanksgiving Day, that annual Turkey Bowl with Mount St. Michael. As Beelan rolls to his left, fires over the middle, no! Right at the 50-yard line, so close to an interception.
I believe that was Mike Maggio there. It was. I mean, how much closer can you get? Look at this. Beelan rolls out. He's got 3 men guarding him, gets hit while he's throwing. Mike Maggio in prime territory to catch it. And you can see the hands on the face mask right after it. He just wants that one back. Turnover on downs either way, so maybe it was even better that Maggio didn't catch it, because now Chaminade's put in way better position to get 6 on the board.
I like that. Glass half full. You should let Maggio know that.
I will.
Good pass deflection, Maggio. 1st and 10 from the 30. And expect a steady diet of number 11, especially down the stretch of this game. And you've seen it throughout as well. He gets another 5 yards to the 25.
Yeah, I mean, a steady diet is right. Totally right up the middle. That's what we're going to be seeing a lot of throughout these last 3 minutes. He's going to be getting a good amount of carries. He's already at 24 on the day. He's just looking for 150 now. He's got 142 yards currently.
And the clock continues to wind as you see it at the bottom of your screen. 2:40 remaining in this 4th quarter. Pitch right. Tully is smart. He's not going sideline. He cuts it back inside to make sure that clock continues to run. Speaking of smart, Aiden Smart for Hayes with the tackle. Yet another sophomore who's going to be very good. Also another, we didn't speak about it earlier, but there's several of these high honors guys, and Smart is one of those guys as well. So he gets it done both in the classroom and on the field as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that last name's fitting. Aiden Smart, he's a pretty smart guy. I mean, Rich Beelan also goes in that category. Just a bunch of...
And Blake as well.
Yeah, Blake as well. Just some really talented athletes along with some great talent in the classroom.
So 3rd and 4 for Chaminade inside the final 2 minutes. And Tully gets the first down and more. What a block downfield as well, as Tully gets in the end zone to pretty much seal this one for Chaminade.
Frankie Cerrone and Pat Bruno setting some good blocks right there on the near side. And I mean, easy does it right here. You're going to see it. Jack Tully starts out on the right hash. He comes all the way to the near side, getting chased by multiple men. And you're going to see that block from Bruno right there. Just pushes the man over and gives Tully all the space in the world that he needs.
A 3rd rushing touchdown for Tully.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's been absolutely electric today.
The PAT is up, and it is good. Minute 34 remains in this 4th quarter, and Chaminade so much closer to their first win of the season. You're watching this Catholic AAA Showdown presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
One more time.
Come on, one more.
One more. Running stance.
2, 1.
One more, man.
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
Welcome back to Gold Star Stadium. Dylan Butler, John Baccio with you here. Minute 34 remains in this fourth quarter, and Chaminade is 94 seconds away from win number 1 on the season, and it was one, again, that Kevin Dolan said it coming in, just felt that the winner of this game, because of all that pressure you take off your shoulders, and also maybe, especially I think for Chaminade, seeing what is in front of you in terms of their schedule, you've got a chance now to maybe break off a couple of wins in a row and really get some momentum, like some of that Tully momentum in this game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these next 3 games, although not going to be easy, they'll definitely be interesting. You face Fordham Prep next week. After that, it is Christ the King back at home, and then you travel over to Holy Trinity for your 3rd game in a row. I mean, all 3 of those could be wins. They've been wins in past years. In fact, Fordham Prep and Christ the King were 2 wins last year. Christ the King, though, this year, very, very sneaky team. They put up 28 points on Iona Prep, 28 points against Kellenberg. They're not a team that you want to mess with.
An incredible array of athletic players, but they like Hayes, is just trying to put it together. Beelan goes to Typha Mason, makes the cut at the 40. He is so fast. Typha Mason gets inside the 45-yard line to move the chains.
Yeah, I mean, Typha Mason, absolute track star. Expect that guy to be all over the place when it comes to that one. And another guy that's a huge track star is A.J. Perez, ranking top 50 in the state in his event.
Beelan calls his own number, gets it out, loses the football, but he gets some help from the offensive lineman. Good job recovering it there by Darrell Jenkins.
Jenkins, the junior, stands at 6'2", 280. You can see it right here, a big hit from Mike Maggio. Even he kind of missed him. It's just that he popped the ball out with his helmet, but Darrell Jenkins coming to save the day, keep Hayes in contention.
I think Jenkins now wants those rushing yards. Here's Mason. Oh, one of those where he saw the opportunity to run before he was able to make sure he secured the football.
Yeah, and I feel like one of those happens every game. You just always think about what you're going to do next before you actually catch the ball and then start thinking. That's just the receivers getting in their own head. Now you see Typha Mason even coming off the field after that.
Inside the final minute, want to again thank our sponsors for this game. Catholic Health, of course, our title sponsor. Handoff, and not much of a run there.
John Weaver on the carry there.
Good look at the Chaminade fans there. So, again, want to thank Catholic Health, of course, Body Armor, as well as Guac Shop. Stay tuned as well as after the final whistle here, we'll have the Guac Shop post-game show on the field with John Perez. Beelan fires it, and maybe a little miscommunication there with his receiver, Elijah Ford.
Tough play right there for Rich Beelan, unable to locate on that pass. Now 22 seconds remaining. Looking like Chaminade's going to be putting the stamp on the envelope here.
Chaminade looking to improve to 1-3 on the season. Hayes will fall to 0-4, and again with some really difficult games ahead, including St. Anthony's and Stepanak. Nice out pattern there by Perez, and a lot of what we're seeing now, John, is obviously not for today, right? But you build for the future, and that's so much of what Hayes has been doing all year. you want to execute down the stretch. How do we, there's 16 seconds left. Maybe it's a tie game in there as they talk about it on film, and maybe even right now on the sideline. How do you execute late game situations? That's what they're trying to do here, even though the score clearly out of range. Good pass deflection on that far sideline.
And yeah, this Cardinal Hayes team, they're strong right now, but what I'm really worried about is Chaminade in 2 years having to face them. I mean, a lot of these guys are sophomores, and once these sophomores step into their senior season, now this squad looks scary. So I'd look out in the CHSFL when Hayes is back in 2024.
Beelan, wow. How about that? What a fake. You feel bad for the running back who just got demolished, but Beelan gets into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, what a play right there from Beelan. We haven't seen much of his rushing ability today. We've seen him a lot scrambling around in the pocket, but right here, fakes the handoff. QB keeper stumbles a little bit even, but avoids the tackle from Mike Maggio, and easy does it as he steps into the end zone.
That's one of those when you're the running back, you go to the sideline and your coach is like, good job, because you just got hammered. Beelan for 2, jump ball. Cleveland Charlton comes down with it.
Yeah, I mean, delay fade in the end zone on the near side. Cleveland Charlton's the guy that you want doing it. 6'3", 150. And I mean, what makes him stick out even more than his size is those fluorescent blue and pink gloves. I think those are the things that really differentiate him, and you see him getting put to use right there.
You like those, don't you?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
We could ask him. Maybe we can get a pair for you.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. Maybe they're Adidas. I'll have to look at their website for that one.
So 6 seconds remaining, and you can see C.J. O'Neal out on the field surveying the situation. And listen, they'll get back into the laboratory, and as we said, they'll be better by the end of the season. He admitted as much. Again, a young team, and he'll get them going. We know that for sure from any C.J. O'Neal coach team. But today it's all about Chaminade and the Flyers really in all phases executing the way that they hoped they would, right? It hasn't been the same common denominator of mistakes through the first 3 weeks, right? It was like special teams in week 2, probably a little bit of everything in week 1 at St. Anthony's, and then obviously some turnovers that result in at least 14 points for Stepanak in week 3. So it's been different things here and there, but today, certainly of the first 4 games of the season, the most complete performance to date.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this Chaminade squad's been great today, and you make some great points. The only thing that I will say, I don't know if I want to be hearing common denominator on a Sunday while watching football, but outside of that, I mean, this team has looked great today. Chaminade's offense has been firing on all cylinders, and 36 points really shows the prowess that they've made in the week after Stepanak. And Cardinal Hayes' defense is one of their weaker points. Chaminade showed it today.
So Beelan to kick off. And it will go out of bounds. So all that is left is Diegues to come out and take a knee, and Chaminade will get that elusive first win. And I'm certainly intrigued to see what this means going forward, right? We mentioned it, and of course you could, in this Catholic League, you take no teams for granted, right? Every game is going to be tough, but when you look at the Chaminade schedule, as we've mentioned, the opportunity to perhaps get a couple wins in a row, especially I think if you play as you did here today. You go to Fordham Prep, always fun to go to Jack Coffey Field, home for Christ the King, and then that one that you kind of circle there. No love lost between the Flyers and the Titans. That one should be a lot of fun as well, and of course you end it with Iona Prep. So that's the final whistle, and the Flyers of Chaminade are victorious. Their first win of the season. They win this one 36-20. We'll take a quick break. We'll bring it back for the Guac Shop postgame show. You're watching this Catholic Football League AAA game presented by Catholic Health on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
The Real Taco Tuesday is finally here. Come join us over at Guac Shop October 4th to celebrate National Taco Day, featuring both styles that you guys love, crispy or soft tacos. $5.99 in-store only. Guac and queso is always extra. So I'll see you October 4th for National Taco Day. The Real Taco Tuesday is finally here. Come join us over at Guac Shop October 4th to celebrate National Taco Day, featuring both styles that you guys love, crispy or soft tacos. $5.99 in-store only. Guac and queso is always extra. So I'll see you October 4th for National Taco Day. The Real Taco Tuesday is finally here. Come join us over at Guac Shop October 4th to celebrate National Taco Day, featuring both styles that you guys love, crispy or soft tacos. $5.99 in-store only. Guac and queso is always extra. So I'll see you October 4th for National Taco Day. The Real Taco Tuesday is finally here. Come join us over at Guac Shop October 4th to celebrate National Taco Day, featuring both styles that you guys love, crispy.
Back here at Gold Star Stadium, we will send it down to the field for the Guac Shop postgame show. John Perez, as well as Joe from Guac Shop, with a special presentation to Chaminade guys.
All right, guys, we're here, post-game show. Chaminade with their first win of the season, 36-20. I'm here with our two players of the game and the head coach as well. And Coach Dolan, I could just imagine the excitement that you have for this crew. You just said you didn't make a tackle, you didn't make a pass, but this team was a collective team effort. How proud are you of them?
You can't be more proud of these guys. The work ethic they put in, the difficult week that we had this week, you know, coming out 0-3, they never lose heart. They never lose their passion for their game or for their school, but most importantly, each other, okay? It's a personal story for us, but the compassion and the love these guys have shown for each other this week has been exceptional. And I can't tell you how proud I am to be the head coach of this football team.
Yeah, certainly a lot to be proud about. And, of course, you've got ground, you've got pound. We'll go with pound first. Dean Aquilino laying the hit. How about the job? How about the job of the defense today?
Oh, we killed it. We had a rough first few weeks, but we're back.
Oh, yeah, man. We're back. And on the offensive side, Mr. Tully.
You know, always got to talk about the big guys up front, moving bodies all day long. Coach Dolan, of course, making great play calls all day. And, you know, we just executed the plan.
All right, and that's one plan. There's another plan in action right now. I'm going to hand it over to Joe from Guac Shop. Joe, take it away.
So after the Flyers' big win today, they actually won a free group dining over at our Wantagh location. That's right. Everyone's going to get one meal for free, trips and drinks, and you can do it at our Wanto location for $10.99 a person.
Doesn't get much better than that from here in Chaminade. Guys, we're setting up. Guys, back to you.
Wow, I think Joe's got a new commercial. On cue, the Flyers with the guac chop. The guac shop chant. Love it. Love it. And listen, John, you know, right? You got a bunch of hungry young men there. They just played for 3 hours. They would love nothing more than to get some of that on your screen. The Guac Shop Mexican Grill, 5 locations, all really close here to Chaminade. And listen, that's a big team. Joe's got to feed a lot of faces there.
Hey, you know, if I was any of them, I would be loving myself a little burrito, maybe a bowl right now. I mean, they just had a really good, well-fought game, 36-20 the final. And, I mean, they would just love to just stuff their faces with some of Joe's Guac Shop food.
Yeah, it looks like, who is that? That was Luke Ventura. I think you're trying to ask Joe, where's the closest location? How long you open till tonight? We're there. So
he's a Port Washington guy, so he's got a couple locations close to him.
100%. So final score here from Gold Star Stadium. It is Chaminade 36 and Cardinal Hayes 20. The Flyers improve to 1-3 on the season, while the Cardinals fall to 0-4. I want to thank our entire Varsity Media crew, executive producer Ben Turchin, our technical director Chris Sweeney, the guys giving you all those moving images, Mike Verdi and Ron Pierre, from my broadcast partner John Boccio, as well as John Perez on sideline. I'm Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from Mineola, and we'll see you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network.